Hi everyone, welcome to your 2023 Love Horoscope. My name is Cailin and today I'm going to be covering everything you need to know for your sign in the area of love and romance in 2023. Before I get into your love sign horoscope, I just wanted to announce that I've actually got a promotion running on my 2023 yearly horoscopes. So each horoscope is about an hour and 45 minutes long. It is jam-packed with absolutely everything you'll need to know for 2023. And if you want to purchase your horoscope, you can do so by clicking on the link in the description box below. As for your horoscope for today, this will be following a whole sign structure, and also I'll be using tropical astrology, also known as Western astrology. With your love sign horoscopes, I recommend that you start off by watching your ascendant sign horoscope, followed by your moon sign, and then lastly you can watch for your sun. But generally speaking, the sun sign horoscope is not quite as accurate for love and romance. So once again, in order, I would watch ascendant, then moon, then your sun sign horoscope. So before I get into it, I just wanted to quickly share a couple of my thoughts about love, romance, and astrology. I am of the personal belief that there is no such thing as a broken birth chart. Never in my life have I looked at a birth chart and thought to myself, oh, this person's going to end up single for the rest of their life. So I do believe that everyone is lovable and worthy of love. So let's start there and get into Aries horoscope. Hi Aries, welcome to your 2023 love horoscope. This year is going to be a huge one for you when it comes to love and romance. And I'm saying this for three reasons in particular. One is that we will have Jupiter in Aries in your first house for about 5 months as we enter the year. Now, the second reason is because from mid-July, the North Node is going to enter the sign of Aries, which means that the South Node will be in Libra in your 7th house. And the third reason I'm saying this is because Venus is going to be in Leo in your 5th house from the 5th of June till the 9th of October. So that's 4 months. Now, whenever we want to see romance coming into our lives or developments within our existing romantic connections, we want to analyze the 5th house, which is more sort of casual dating and let's say short-term or less serious connections. We also want to look at the 7th house as well as the 1st house. So we've really got the trifecta when it comes to your love sector being activated for 2023. So first things first, let's have a look at the energy of Jupiter being in Aries in your 1st house. So Jupiter will re-enter Aries on the 20th of December and it will be there until mid-May in 2023. Jupiter is the greater benefic in astrology, which means that it brings abundance, blessings, prosperity, and good fortune to the sign that it transits and the house that it transits. So with Jupiter activating your 1st and 7th house axes, there is an increased chance of you welcoming love into your life between, let's say, the 20th of December and mid-May in 2023. Now, that does not mean that after the middle of May that, there's no chance for you romantically speaking. I'm simply going in chronological order. So this is a great time to meet someone, and this can also indicate that you may be proposing to someone else. You may receive a proposal. Now, of course, that could be a marriage proposal for some of you, but for others of you, it could be an invitation to take things to the next level. And essentially, Jupiter represents growth and expansion. So it's like, let's grow, let's expand within our existing connection. So, of course, for singles, this can indicate new love and romance coming through. Now, if you are already in a romantic connection with another person, whether you are dating this person or perhaps you're in a committed long-term relationship or a marriage, this can play out in two different ways. On one level, you could be taking that relationship to a higher level of commitment. Having said that, Jupiter can indicate liberation or freedom from an existing connection or relationship. And I'm certainly not saying that to freak you guys out. For those of you who are in committed romantic relationships, please know that Jupiter transiting your first house indicates that if you do go down that path of some type of breakup or separation, that you would be the instigator, you would be the protagonist here. And that is because Jupiter is transiting your sign. So this is the action that you would be taking rather than the shoe being on the other foot. So with Jupiter being in your first house for the first, let's say, 4.5 months of the year, the best ways to meet someone with taking this transit into consideration would be while you were traveling anywhere, by the way. Maybe when you were going on an adventure. I'm just going to be mentioning the things that Jupiter rules over just to give you an idea. So you could be traveling, you could be going on some kind of journey. You could meet someone who is a foreigner or traveling to your country, or this individual could be well educated, they could be very cultured, they could be someone who is of a different cultural background to you. You could meet someone through education, whether this is the two of you attending university or college or being involved in some kind of education program together. This person could simply be a teacher or some kind of coach or mentor. And on a different level, you could meet this person through foreign affairs, a coaching program, I think I already said that, or even through the court system. Or this person could be a lawyer, a judge, or involved in the legal system. So obviously I'm just going through what Jupiter rules over just to give you an idea of who this individual could be. Now, on a different note, this person could be a counselor, a publisher. They could be quite religious or spiritual in nature. They could be a tour guide. They could work in travel or tourism, or even they could even be a language interpreter. Now, if we're really stripping it down to basics, this person could simply be a Sagittarius or Pisces sun, moon, or rising, or they could have very, very prominent Jupiterian qualities, or they could have like Jupiter conjunct the sun or the ascendant or something of that nature. Now, if I had to hedge a bet as to whether this person would be a Sagittarius or Pisces, I am more inclined to say Sagittarius, simply because Jupiter is in the sign of Aries, and Aries is a fire sign, as is Sagittarius. So let's talk about the fact that the North Node will be in Aries and the South Node will be in Libra. So this will be from the 17th of July in 2023 until January in 2025. So this is an 18-month transit. Now, this only happens once every 19 years for you guys, so it is a big deal. Now, this can play out on a couple of different levels. The South Node being in the 7th house, for some of you, can indicate a relationship or a connection dissolving. So that could be a breakup or a separation of sorts. Do not freak out. I am not, foreshadowing this or projecting this onto you guys. There's a number of other ways that this can play out for you. There may be some sort of physical distance or separation between you and your significant other, or you and this romantic connection. So the South Node being in the 7th house can indicate that maybe one of you has to live in a foreign country for a while. Maybe one of you is working abroad. I experienced this transit personally just a couple of years ago. So when the North Node was in Gemini in my first house and the South Node was in Sagittarius in my 7th house, I was in lockdown with my husband for that. I think it was that whole time period, I'm pretty sure. And we are still together, we remain together, but I was working so hard on growing my own business and, actually starting my own business and then growing my own business and learning about astrology and tarot. So basically, when the North Node is in your first house, even if you're in a marriage or in a romantic connection, this just indicates that you are pouring all of this time and energy into yourself. So this can indicate that there's not as much time for your romantic partnership, but they could just be supporting you from the sidelines as you are figuring out what you're passionate about and what gets you excited. So there's a lot of there's a lot of focus on yourself for the whole of 2023. Simply put, with Jupiter in Aries, and then a couple months later, the North Node going into Aries. I mean, you know, this really is about you and what you're interested in. And I can tell you now that with the North Node being in Aries from mid-July in 2023 till January in 2025, the kinds of let's say romantic partners that you are usually attracted to will most likely change. Or it could be your sexual preferences or your sexuality in general. Maybe you will become more adventurous. For some of you, this may be a period of time where you're just excited to be single and, you know, go out there and start dating other people. Or maybe you'll just be focusing on your independence a lot in 2023. But I just want to emphasize that this does not mean that it is a bad year for love. It is quite the opposite, but it's more like you're more adventurous with love. You're more adventurous with romance and the kinds of romantic connections that you want to explore. Or let's just say within your existing relationship, there will be more excitement here. Now, with the South Node being in Libra in your 7th house, this can indicate that you are experiencing a really deep soul connection with another person. So even though on one hand, the South Node being in the 7th house can see some connections falling by the wayside, that's not the case for everyone. And that's certainly not always the case in terms of a South Node in the 7th house transit. So this can indicate that you are maybe getting back with someone who you used to be romantically involved with. Think Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck getting together like 2 decades later. So you could be reunited with the love of your life. You could meet someone who you have a really deep past life or karmic or soul connection with. And, you know, this person could actually bring a lot of healing into your life, or you could actually fall for someone who is extremely spiritual in nature. So that's the overall general energies. Now, I just want to filter it down by looking at new moons and full moons in your 5th house, your 7th house, and your 1st house, as well as that Venus in Leo transit that I mentioned earlier. So on the 5th of February, there will be a full moon in Leo at 16 degrees. So this will be in your 5th house, which is connected to dating and romance. Now, this will be making a very tight square to Uranus in Taurus. So full moons and new moons are not always going to impact us every time that they occur, you know, which is every month. But as far as romance and dating are concerned, we do look to the 5th and 7th house for these matters. So with this full moon at 16 degrees Leo on the 5th of February in your 5th house, this could indicate that you get into a relationship very suddenly because we've got that square to Uranus. There could be some kind of unexpected element when it comes to a romantic situation, whether this is taking things to the next level, or perhaps this is to do with severing ties with a romantic partner. So it's just going to depend on your own individual situation, but those are just a couple of different ways that that can play out. Either way, we can say that around the 5th of February, plus or minus 2 weeks, there could be something unexpected that comes through in the romantic department. So this is like you couldn't see it coming, it wasn't planned. You could even have a romantic or sexual encounter where it's like things just come out of nowhere and you're just like, wow, I was not expecting this connection to develop. And moving on though, looking at the 21st of March, there will be a new moon in Aries. So this is actually the first of 2 new moons in Aries, which are back to back. So with this particular one, it's actually occurring at 0 degrees. So this is a very, very potent new moon, and it will actually be conjunct Mercury as well, and Jupiter will be in Aries too. So because this is occurring in your 1st house, once again, it is activating that 1st and 7th house axes. So Again, we're looking at plus or minus 2 weeks, but of course we are following on from the 6th of February with that full moon in Leo. So, you know, I would say that there would be some kind of romantic situation that is developing for you guys, or we can say that there's movement within an existing romantic relationship. Because this is a new moon and it's occurring at 0 degrees, I would guess that if this was the start of a new romantic connection, that this would actually be with a friend, or this could be with a co-worker, a client, a friend of a friend, someone from school, someone from an education program, or even someone who is like a neighbor or lives in your neighborhood or in your local community. So with this new moon being at 0 degrees Aries and conjunct Mercury at 5 degrees Aries, we've actually got Mercury and Mars in mutual reception. So Mercury is in Aries, Mars is in Gemini. So this is just essentially emphasizing what I'm saying here, that this person would probably be known to you, a friend of a friend, someone in your local community, or someone who you meet through, let's say, business, or online. This could be like an online dating situation. So moving along though, on the 6th of April, there will be a full moon in Libra at 16 degrees. So this is occurring in your 7th house, and this one has a bit of tension to it, because this full moon will be almost exactly opposite Chiron. So the moon will be at 16 degrees and Chiron will be at 15 degrees in Aries. So there is some kind of healing that can take place within this particular full moon. So on one level, tensions could be running high around this period of time. Absolute worst case scenario would be severing ties within an existing romantic connection. But because it's opposite Chiron, the best case scenario is profound healing, finally moving past some kind of roadblock that has existed within your romantic connection with another person. Or maybe you're feeling like you're seeing the real them, or that you guys are having a heart-to-heart, or maybe you're seeing things from their perspective, or vice versa. So as you can tell, February, March, April, these are very potent times for you when it comes to romance and dating. Now, we've got a new moon eclipse in Aries on the 20th of April, and this will be at 29 degrees. Okay, so with this new moon occurring in your sign and also being conjunct Jupiter, I might add, once again, this could indicate some kind of new beginning starting when it comes to a romantic connection. So because it's a new moon eclipse and we're looking at this being in your first house, this can indicate meeting someone new, taking a romantic relationship to the next level. As it's conjunct Jupiter, there may be some kind of proposal that comes through here. Now, it doesn't necessarily need to be an engagement or a marriage proposal. It could be like, hey, let's go and travel together, or let's go and have this experience together. Or maybe it's you and this other person talking about your future, which would be Jupiter, together. So from the 5th of June until the 9th of October, we'll have Venus in Leo in your 5th house, and it will actually be retrograde from the 22nd of July until the 2nd or the 3rd of September, depending where you live in the world. So this truly is one of the biggest periods of time in 2023 for romance, because not only is this occurring in your 5th house, which is dating and romance, it also involves Venus, which is the ruler of your 7th house. Okay, so we've got that activation between your 5th house and your 7th house. So with Venus being in your 5th house for 4 months, including a retrograde cycle, some of you may enter into a relationship during this period of time. In fact, I would say that this is one of the most likely times for that to occur for 2023. And so this could see some of you actually working things out with an existing partner, or you could actually be getting back together with an ex, especially during that retrograde period. In any case, Venus being in your 5th house and retrograde can indicate that maybe you're having to choose between a number of different people, and you're like, oh, I really like this person, but I really like that person. So there could be some confusion that comes through here. And for those of you who are already in an existing romantic connection, Venus being retrograde in the 5th house can see you reigniting that spark in your relationship, going on a vacation together, you know, getting loved up and feeling passionate about the other person. And if you have issues within your existing relationship, you could be really teasing those out and working through those during this 4-month period. So Venus being retrograde in your 5th house could also indicate that the kinds of people that you are into may be shifting, you know, so your taste could be changing, your priorities or your values, especially because Venus rules over your 2nd house and Venus represents your values and self-worth. So this could see you reinventing your image and feeling more attractive, and in this way you're attracting more love and romance into your life. So just wrapping it up though, on the 16th of August, there will be a new moon in Leo at 23 degrees conjunct Venus. So, you know, the 16th of August, plus or minus a couple of weeks, again, is a real hotspot for, you know, a new romantic development taking off, finding new love, or an existing connection being taken to the next level. So this is such a beautiful new moon when it comes to romance. And then on the 14th of October, there will be a new moon in Libra at 21 degrees in your 7th house. This one will actually be conjunct Mercury and opposite Chiron. So this could indicate getting into a romantic relationship. And for those of you who are already in a romantic relationship, this could be a proposal. This could be more of a solid commitment, especially if things have been relatively casual with one person that you're involved with and you want to take things to the next level. So Aries, obviously there's lots of romantic energy available to you for this month. And just topping it off though, between the 8th of November and the 4th of December, Venus will be in Libra in your 7th house, which once again is a great period of time for you romantically speaking. So Aries, if you enjoyed this horoscope, please give the video a thumbs up. If you want to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. And once again, if you want to purchase your 2023 yearly horoscope, you can do so by clicking on the link in the description box below. Hello, my beautiful fellow Taurians. I've got such good news for you for 2023. Romance and your relationships are just going to get better and better and better as the year progresses. And that is because Saturn will stop squaring you as of the 7th of March in 2023. And then the South Node will leave the sign of Scorpio in your 7th house in mid-July 2023. So let's start from the top. Saturn has been squaring you as a Taurus sun, moon or rising since the end of 2020. In fact, it was even squaring you for a little bit from March through till July in 2020 as well. So this has put a lot of pressure on Taurians, especially when it comes to upholding certain, let's say, traditions, whether this is to do with family commitments, being in a marriage, or staying in a relationship where you've just been potentially beating your head against a wall, or you've just been trying really, really hard to fight to keep your relationship going. So this will pass after the 7th of March in 2023 when Saturn finally leaves Aquarius and enters Pisces. So what this means is that once you get to, let's say, March in 2023, the pressure will really start to come off of your romantic connection or your long-term committed relationship or your marriage if you are in a relationship. I'll talk about singles in a moment. So if you are in a committed partnership with another person and it has been strained, by the time you get to March in 2023, you will have clarity about whether you want to remain with this person or whether you want to part ways. Now, of course, this is a general reading, so whichever direction it goes in for you, that's based on you and your own personal life. What I'm saying here is that things are going to start to get easier for you. Now, from the 16th of May, Jupiter is going to enter the sign of Taurus. This bodes or portends such good things for Taurians. So not only will Saturn finally be out of Aquarius, which means that even for singles, you know, this could have indicated that it was really difficult for you to either date or enter into a relationship. And now with Jupiter being in Taurus, this is bringing good luck, blessings, good fortune, and prosperity, and for many Taurians, romance during this 12-month period. So Jupiter will be in Taurus from the 16th of May in 2023 until the 24th of May in 2024. So this is a 12-month window where you can enter into a new relationship. You can take your existing romantic connection to the next level, whether this means moving in together, growing and expanding together as a couple. Maybe some of you will want to travel with your significant other. Some of you may be either proposing, getting proposed to, or actually getting married during this 12-month transit. So Jupiter being in Taurus is one of the most lucky transits that you could experience, that we can experience as Taurians, and this only happens once every 12 years. So, you know, the first 2 and a bit months, those are the most difficult times for romance and relationship energy, whether this is in your existing connection, whether this is you know, you not being able to meet someone, or things aren't really working out, and then things just get better and better and better. On a different level, things are going to improve once more once we get to mid-July in 2023, because this is when the nodes will finally shift out of Taurus and Scorpio. So the South Node has been in Scorpio in your 7th house since mid-January in 2022. Okay, so that's an 18-month period. So January 2022 to July 2023. So once the South Node's out of Scorpio and it's out of your 7th house, things get easier within your romantic connections. If there's been distance between you and your loved one, whether this is physical distance, whether this is a lack of intimacy, or a, you know, feeling an emotional connection with your significant other, this can improve once again as we move beyond mid-July in 2023. Now, even if you are, let's say, not having a lot of luck in the romantic department till we get to this point, again, I'm saying that things will improve from July in 2023. So if we're talking about let's say dates and time periods for Taurians and when you can expect things to shift in a romantic sense, I'm going to go in order through some of the full moons and new moons. Now, first of all, on the 7th of March, there will be a full moon in Virgo, okay, and it will square Mars in the sign of Gemini. So this full moon will be taking place in your 5th house, which is connected to dating and romance. So in astrology, we look at activations to the 5th house, the 7th house, and the 1st house when it comes to, let's say, romantic territory. This is I'm going to call it stressful full moon, which is taking place in that 5th house of yours, and that's because it makes that square to Mars in Gemini. So it's interesting that this is actually taking place on the day that Saturn enters the sign of Pisces. Nevertheless, you know, for some of you, it could be liberation or freedom from a romantic relationship or a connection that has been kind of stressful for you. You know, for some of you, this could just be having a little bit of tension or some kind of blow up or argument around the 7th of March, plus or minus, you know, a week or two. But in terms of new romantic energy coming through, on the 20th of April, there will be a new moon eclipse in Aries at 29 degrees. Now, even though this is in your 12th house, it's almost in the sign of Taurus. So this new moon eclipse will affect Taurians who are between about 0 and 3 degrees, specifically speaking. So a new romantic connection can come through around this period of time. Now, on the 20th of on the 21st of April, Mercury is going to station retrograde in the sign of Taurus. This is a huge deal for love and romance, and that is because Mercury rules over your 5th house, being Virgo, and Mercury being retrograde can indicate that some of you may be hearing back from an ex, some of you may be reaching out to a former lover, some of you could be clarifying where you stand within an existing romantic connection. If there has been discord or tension within this connection with another person, or if there's been some kind of long-standing argument that you guys can't really agree on or see eye to eye on, this can see you finally leveling out and getting onto the same page as this person. Some of you may be changing your mind about whether you want to be in a relationship or not. And for some of you, if you have been delaying breaking up with an individual, you could decide to bite the bullet and go your separate ways during this period of time. But ultimately, a Mercury retrograde period in the 5th house can be very illuminating and enlightening, and it can help to unblock certain issues within romantic relationships. Now, if you have not been dating for ages, or let's just say that you put your Tinder profile on ice, this can see you re-entering the dating pool. One way or another, Mercury being retrograde in your 1st house and ruling over your 5th house indicates that you're thinking differently about romance. You're thinking differently about dating. How do you want to dress? How do you want to present yourself? What kind of people do you want to date? And there could be a lot of romantic attention coming your way from, let's say, people that you used to be flirty with, and even if there was nothing that was there like in the past, it could just be that maybe you're suddenly available and you're getting all of this attention, and you could just feel as though there's a lot of different choices for you to make from a romantic perspective. Now, on the 5th of May, there will be a full moon eclipse at 14 degrees in the sign of Scorpio, and this is occurring in your 7th house. If nothing else, you guys, having eclipses in your 1st and 7th house is one of the biggest indicators for activity occurring within romantic connections. So with this being a full moon eclipse in your 7th house, this could indicate that some of you are walking away from a romantic connection. Maybe you are, breaking up with your significant other, or this could actually see a connection from the past being put in front of you once again, especially because this full moon eclipse will be opposite Mercury, which will be retrograde at the time. So we'll have Mercury being retrograde at 8 degrees, which is very close to the sun, and we've got Uranus on the other side of this. So this full moon eclipse in Scorpio is opposite Uranus and Mercury retrograde. So this could indicate that you are getting back together with someone, or that you are having clarity about this romantic connection and where you want it to go. In one way or another, a full moon eclipse in your 7th house will be extremely enlightening, and there could be some kind of deeper soul or karmic or even sexual connection that develops with this particular full moon in Scorpio, full moon eclipse, I might add. And the Taurians who would be the most impacted would be those between about I'm going to say 19 degrees up to about 9 degrees up to about 19 degrees in Taurus. So it appears that May is a very, very potent month from a relationship perspective, because we've got this full moon eclipse in Scorpio, then we've got Jupiter entering Taurus, then we've got we've also got that Mercury retrograde, which starts in April. So it's like April and May are these very exciting and explosive months from a romantic perspective. Now, even on the 19th of May, so 2 weeks after the full moon eclipse in Scorpio, we've got a new moon in Taurus at 28 degrees. And this one will be conjunct Mercury, and it will be conjunct Uranus. And let's just see, Mercury will be at 6 degrees and Uranus will be at 19 degrees. So because this is a new moon and it's occurring in your first house and it's conjunct Mercury, which rules over that 5th house of romance and dating, there could be a new romantic connection that develops with the conjunction to Uranus. This could be with a friend, and Mercury represents friends as well. This could come about very suddenly, very unexpectedly. There could be like a passionate new beginning that starts here. And because this new moon is sextile Mars in Cancer at 29 degrees, again, this just indicates a passionate new beginning that could be coming through. For those of you who are already in a romantic partnership or relationship with another person, this could indicate a revival of that romantic energy or that spark coming back into the relationship. Now, still traveling through with some of the new moons and full moons, we've got a new moon in Virgo on the 15th of September at 21 degrees. And this one will be conjunct Mercury in Virgo, and also it will trine Uranus and Jupiter. So this is a very, very exciting time, romantically speaking. So this could indicate meeting someone new, getting back onto the wagon when it comes to entering the world of dating. This can indicate going on a fun new date or on a vacation with another person. With that trine to Uranus and Jupiter, this can indicate traveling with another individual or with your romantic partner. Now, on the 28th of October, there will be a full moon eclipse at 5 degrees Taurus, and of course this will be in your first house. Now, I'm not going to lie, this particular eclipse looks very let's say potent, spicy, if you will, and that is because we're also going to have the full moon eclipse being conjunct Jupiter, and it will be opposite Mercury and opposite Mars. So Mercury and Mars will be conjunct. Now, even if you don't fully understand the astrological terminology and the aspects, ultimately there's a lot of passion within this particular full moon eclipse in your first house, because we've got that conjunction with Mars, which rules over your 7th house of relationships, and Mercury, which rules over your 5th house, which is connected to dating. And then with the full moon being conjunct Jupiter, this is talking about the future of this connection or the future of this relationship. So some of you may be taking things to the next level with a significant other. Some of you may be deciding that you want to part ways. Either way, there is some kind of rapid, explosive, and unexpected energy that is coming through with this full moon eclipse in terms of, let's say, who's doing what, and the decision-making process, because we've got the ruler of the 7th house being conjunct Mercury and in the 7th house. To me, this is actually more indicative of the other individual calling the shots, whether this is them saying, hey, do you want to go out with me? Do you want to travel? Do you want to move in with me or take things to the next level? Maybe there's some kind of offer or proposal that is coming through. Worst case scenario is that a breakup could ensue, but just remember, guys, that this is a general horoscope, so it is very, very hard for me to predict how everything's going to play out, but just know that this full moon eclipse is making a trine to Venus in Virgo, and Venus is the ruler of the eclipse. So I see this as portending good things, or let's say, encouragement for taking things to the next level within a romantic connection. But because it is an eclipse, I don't want to rule things out. But overall, I would say that there is some kind of surprising offer that comes through, or some kind of sense of urgency, or, this could be a very passionate beginning from a romantic perspective. And lastly, with the new moons and full moons, there will be a new moon in Scorpio at 20 degrees on the 13th of November, and this will be conjunct Mars at 22 degrees and opposite Uranus at 21 degrees. So, wow, this is a very spicy, spicy full moon. Sorry, I mean to say new moon, and new moons indicate a new chapter starting or a new beginning starting. So if I had to highlight the times of the year where I felt that there would be the most activity coming through for you as Taurians, I would say around April and May, there appears to be significant developments that are taking place when it comes to, let's say, progression or fluctuation within existing romantic connections. And then again in October and November, it looks like there is, some kind of movement coming through. And when I say movement, obviously it could go in either direction, but it's like this is when you can expect there to be changes coming through in a romantic sense. Now, I also just want to touch on the fact that Mercury will be retrograde in Virgo from the 23rd of August until the 15th of September, and that will be from 21 degrees back to 8 degrees, and this is occurring in your 5th house. So this can indicate talking to an ex, getting back together with an ex. If you've been on and off in an existing romantic relationship, this can indicate that you are finally making a definitive decision one way or another. You can certainly get on the same page as this other individual. And obviously there is some overlap here with what I said about Mercury being retrograde in Taurus, which was April and May, and now we're looking at Mercury retrograde in Virgo. So ultimately, guys, there is a lot of relationship energy that's occurring within 2023. And in saying that, I mean that there's developments happening, whether you're getting into a relationship, whether you're coming out of a relationship. I would say that, the signs where we are going to see a lot of romantic activity taking place would be Aries, Taurus, and also Libra and Scorpio. Okay, so with that being said, I hope that you've enjoyed this love horoscope. If you did, please give the video a like. If you want to see more content, please hit the subscribe button. And of course, if you want to purchase your 2023 yearly horoscope, you can do so by clicking on the link in the description box below. Hi Geminis, welcome to your 2023 love horoscope. Before I get into romantic connections and when these can be commencing or where these might be going, I actually just wanted to hone in on the fact that Pluto will be entering Aquarius for the first time in nearly 250 years. And this is amazing for Geminis because Pluto will be trining you. So this is a harmonious aspect and we love to see it. I say we because I am a Gemini rising myself. So Pluto rules over sex and intimacy, and Pluto has actually been in your 8th house, which has been very dark and dreary since 2008. So the planet of sex and intimacy, making this harmonious and beneficial aspect to you, indicates that you guys are going to be seeing emotional intimacy and sex in a totally new light, and this is going to be something which is going to help you when it comes to evolving within existing romantic connections or in cultivating new romantic connections. So Pluto will be in Aquarius in your 9th house from the 23rd of March until the 11th of June in 2023, at which point it will go back into Capricorn for a bit, but then it'll be in Aquarius once more from January in 2024. So in saying all this, just keep an eye out for, let's say, end of March through to mid-June to see if anything is shifting for you on an internal level or perhaps even within an existing romantic connection, or there could even be one that enters your life, which will be very, very special, for the next, well, I don't want to put a time limit on it, but Pluto has a 20-year cycle. So Pluto entering Aquarius could even indicate that some of you will be meeting your soulmate, okay, or someone who is very, very special to you. And even if you're not necessarily meeting them for the first time, maybe it's taking things to the next level. So that's the first little tidbit on your love sign horoscope for 2023. Moving along though, I just want to focus on certain full moons and new moons, as well as Venus being in Gemini. So let's let's start with the full moon in Libra on the 6th of April. So this will be taking place at 16 degrees in your 5th house. So as far as romance and love is concerned, we like to see activations to the 5th house, which is dating and romance, and the 7th house, which is more of like your long-term committed romantic relationships and partnerships, as well as your 1st house. So with this occurring in your 5th house and it being a full moon, some of you may be taking a relationship to the next level, or there could be some kind of situation which reaches its peak. Worst case scenario, this could lead to a romantic connection breaking down, especially because this full moon will be conjunct Chiron. But on the other side of the coin, this can actually indicate an opportunity for deep and profound healing within this existing relationship. So if you are romantically involved with someone and there's been like an ongoing issue with you or with this other person, this full moon on the 6th of April can see you actually transforming and evolving past this difficulty that either you or your partner have been experiencing, or it could be both of you struggling with a certain thing and now you're able to overcome it. Now, this full moon in Libra in your 5th house could actually see you overcoming some kind of trauma or negative experience that you have had when it comes to romantic relationships. So I'm not going to lie, this is a very emotional looking full moon, but it has beautiful potential for healing beyond past circumstances or trauma that you have experienced or that your significant other has experienced. Now, between the 11th of April and the 7th of May, Venus will be in the sign of Gemini. So Venus rules over your 5th house, being Libra, and with it being in your 1st house, well, you guys are just going to be feeling more attractive. You will probably be very flirtatious around this period of time. There may be more than one option for you from a dating perspective. And even if you are already in an existing relationship or connection, this can see you getting along better with your partner. Maybe there'll be some sort of opportunity for you to go out on a nice date together or a vacation. And even if you're with someone at the time, maybe you're just getting a lot more, let's say, attention from other people, and maybe your significant other is taking notice of that. In any case, Venus transits our 1st house about once a year, and when this occurs, there can be a big focus on your appearance, whether this is how you are dressing, maybe you're looking at changing up your hairstyle or how you do your makeup. Either way, this can basically see you being very, very attractive and appealing to other people. And this is also a great time for you to put yourself out there, romantically speaking, if that is something that you're wanting to welcome into your life. Now, on the 16th of May, actually, from the 16th of May in 2023 through till the 24th of May in 2024, Jupiter is going to be in Taurus in your 12th house. Now, the reason why this is significant is because Jupiter rules over your 7th house, which is connected to romantic relationships, especially ones of a more serious kind. Now, Jupiter being in your 12th house can indicate a couple of things. Well, more than a couple, but let's just go through them. Some of you may be embarking on some kind of secret love affair, because the 12th house represents that which we keep hidden from other people. So there could be a romantic connection that you are keeping quiet, or that the other person wants to keep quiet. To be really fair, this can indicate going your separate ways from an existing romantic connection, whether this is your spouse or someone that you live with or someone that you've been with for a long time. And just remember that this is a general reading, so I'm definitely not trying to foreshadow anything. For others of you who are in a romantic relationship already, and there's no sort of breakup going on or anything nefarious, it could just be that you're either experiencing a bit of emotional distance from your significant other, or it could be that you two are becoming very involved in spiritual matters. So maybe you're meditating together or going on a healing journey together. And just remember that, with what I said about Pluto being in Aquarius, some of you will certainly be meeting your soulmates during 2023. So on a different level, on the 4th of June, there will be a full moon in Sagittarius, and this will be at 13 degrees in your 7th house. And we're also going to have Jupiter being conjunct the North Node. So for the 4th of June, plus or minus a couple of weeks, this can indicate some kind of progression when it comes to an existing relationship taking place. And that is because full moons indicate a situation reaching a climax or some kind of peak. And so for some of you, this could indicate asking someone out, getting into a relationship. This could indicate one of you proposing to the other. And, for some of you, of course, that could be a marriage proposal. But for others of you, this could be some other kind of proposal. And if you're wondering what that even means, maybe you guys are looking at traveling together, maybe you guys are looking at becoming exclusive, or maybe you guys are talking about your future together. Now, what's very special about this full moon in Sagittarius is that Jupiter North Node conjunction, which only happens once every, I want to say 12 years, but could be 11 to 13 years. Doesn't happen often, is what I'm trying to say. So the Jupiter North Node conjunction indicates that there's some kind of quantum leap that is taking place here, or some sort of changing of the tides, which is very unexpected, or things happen very suddenly, or maybe you just go from 0 to 100. And the reason why I'm honing in on this Jupiter North Node conjunction is because Jupiter rules over Sagittarius. So we can say that Jupiter is the ruler of this full moon. So definitely watch out to see what is taking place around the 4th of June. Now, moving along a little further, on the 18th of June, there will be a new moon in Gemini at 26 degrees, and it will be conjunct Mercury, which is your ruling planet, plus the ruler of the new moon, and squaring Neptune. So this can indicate a new romantic chapter that is taking place, but maybe there's some kind of sacrifice or some kind of trade-off. Or with the square to Neptune, there could be a little bit of, I want to say, a false start, or maybe there is some kind of situation where the two of you can't take it in the direction that you want to take it, or maybe the word sacrifice is coming through with that square to Neptune. So nevertheless, looking at the South Node entering Libra. Okay, so this will take place on the 17th of July in 2023. So the South Node will be in Libra in your 5th house, which is connected to dating and romance. And we're also going to have the North Node being in Aries in your 11th house. So having the South Node through that 5th house can play out in a few different ways. If you read up on it online, you will probably see things like, oh, this means that my romantic relationship is breaking down. This indicates that, I'm not going to be able to date anyone or have access to relationships during this period of time. That's categorically incorrect. Just so you know, when my husband and I got together, he was having the South Node transit his 5th house, and I was having the North Node transit my 7th house. But, that just debunks that, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. And although it is true that the South Node being in your 5th house for 18 months can indicate that there is potentially more confusion with a romantic connection, or maybe there is some kind of distance between you guys. Yes, some of you will experience the breakdown of a relationship during that period of time, which, this is a general reading, so it's to be expected that some of you will go through breakups in 2023. This transit can indicate meeting your soulmate. This transit can indicate being reunited with someone who you used to be involved with romantically. And that is because the South Node has a very spiritual energy to it, and it is connected to past life energy as well. So maybe you will be embarking on some kind of new romantic journey with someone who you feel that you've been connected to in a past life before, or again, this could be someone who maybe you had a false start with, or maybe you simply broke up and then you're getting back together. Now on the 14th of October, there will be a new moon in Libra at 21 degrees, and it will be conjunct Mercury, and Venus, which is the ruler of this new moon eclipse, will be in Virgo. Did I say new moon? Because I meant new moon eclipse. So a new moon eclipse is like a new moon but on steroids, and to be honest, if I was ever going to set any store by romantic developments happening, I would focus more on eclipses rather than just regular new moons and full moons. So a new moon eclipse in your 5th house can absolutely indicate the start of a new romantic relationship coming through. And for some of you, you could even be moving in with this individual, especially because Venus will be in your 4th house. And this new moon is conjunct Mercury, which is your chart ruler. You may even be starting a family together or falling pregnant. So I would say that this is one of the most potent new moons for relationship territory for us Geminis. So keep an eye out for that. And lastly, on the 12th of December, there will be a new moon in Sagittarius at 20 degrees, and it will be conjunct Mars and trine Jupiter and trine Neptune. So this can indicate taking a romantic connection to the next level. For some of you, this could be taking a dating situation to something that is more exclusive. For others of you, this could indicate a marriage proposal, getting engaged, actually getting married around that period of time, or eloping for some of you. And because it's conjunct Mars, which represents things happening quickly. In any case, this new moon at 20 degrees on the 12th of December indicates that there is something happening quickly. There is something fast-paced or unexpected or very passionate about the energy of this new moon that is coming through. So Gemini, if you enjoyed this horoscope, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. If you want to purchase your 2023 yearly horoscope, you can do so by clicking on the link in the description box below. I hope you enjoyed this horoscope, and I'll see you guys next time. Hi Cancers, welcome to your 2023 love horoscope. So first and foremost, I want to start off by looking at Saturn changing signs. So Saturn will be entering the sign of Pisces on the 7th of March for the first time in nearly 3 decades. So the reason why this is important for you guys from a romantic context or perspective is because Saturn is the ruler of your 7th house, which is your descendant. The 7th house represents our long-term committed relationships. Even if they're not long-term, this basically denotes serious relationships. So a 7th house relationship would involve the two of you either living together, having children together, having combined assets, whether this entails property or business together. This could also indicate that you are engaged or that you are married to this other individual, or it could be a very, very serious relationship, okay? And usually, even if you don't live with the other person, a long-term relationship would also be inclusive of 7th house relationship territory, whereas the 5th house in astrology is more about dating, romance, things being a little bit more on the casual side, or not really knowing where you stand with the other individual. So now that I've got that out of the way, I will be focusing on transits to the 5th house, the 7th house, as well as the 1st house. But circling back to Saturn entering Pisces, Saturn ruling over your 7th house and being in the 9th house and therefore trining you can indicate that you may be actually marrying another person while Saturn is in Pisces. And by the way, the whole transit is from the 7th of March through till mid-February in 2026, bar about 3 months in 2025. Nevertheless, this can indicate that you are becoming more serious with another person. Even if you're not getting married, the 9th house rules over our future. Okay, our vision for the future, and Saturn represents commitments and promises. So if you've been uncertain about where a certain connection is going, or how serious the other person is, or maybe you have been the one who has been a little bit unsure about where to take things next, Saturn being in Pisces in your 9th house can indicate that you will want to commit to this other individual. Now, in 2023, Saturn will only travel between 0 and 7 degrees Pisces, which means that the Cancerians who are most likely to be impacted by this during 2023 will be those between 0 and 7 degrees. Nevertheless, even if you are, 8 degrees onwards, that doesn't mean that this won't happen for you in 2023. I'm just focusing on this particular transit, or this specific transit for you with regard to those degrees. Now, Pluto will be entering the sign of Aquarius on the 23rd of March, and it will be transiting Aquarius in your 8th house until the 11th of June in 2023. The rest of the year, it will be back in Capricorn in your 7th house. So, first of all, you haven't seen this in this lifetime. None of us have, because Pluto takes about 248 years to go through all 12 signs. So, basically, why this would be significant for you when it comes to relationship territory or emotional intimacy territory is because the 8th house is connected to sex and emotional intimacy, and Pluto is the planet which is associated with sex and emotional intimacy. And Pluto also rules over your 5th house, being Scorpio, and the 5th house is connected to dating, sex, and romance. So this can actually indicate that a new intimate relationship may be commencing for you during this 3-month period. Now, I'm only giving it the 3-month window because of how long this transit is, but of course, it doesn't mean that if it doesn't happen during this window of time that it's not happening for you. I'm just focusing on this transit. So this can indicate that a new intimate relationship is starting, or a new sexual relationship. There could be an amazing new level of emotional intimacy, or even just like an enormous improvement in your sex life that occurs with Pluto being in Aquarius in your 8th house. So just bear in mind that even though Pluto will be in Aquarius in your 8th house for just 3 months in 2023, you've got like 20 years of this transit, guys, up until like 2043. All right. So anyway, I digress. This can indicate that you may want to keep this relationship hidden. That's another way that could play out. Now, in terms of full moon and new moon energy and looking at, the activities of Venus, which is a relationship planet in astrology, on the 6th of January, so taking it right up to the beginning of the year, there will be a full moon in Cancer at 16 degrees, which will be conjunct Mercury, which will be retrograde at the time, and making a trine to Uranus in Taurus. So this can actually indicate receiving some kind of insight when it comes to, I just want to say it won't be conjunct Mercury, it will be opposite Mercury retrograde in your 7th house. Nevertheless, the full moon is in Cancer at 16 degrees. It is opposite Mercury retrograde in your 7th house and trining Uranus. So this can actually indicate getting clarity on a romantic connection. How does this person feel about me? Where are we taking this? Where is this going? Or for some of you, this could be hearing back from an ex, or having some kind of defining conversation, maybe one where you receive closure with an ex, just because Mercury is retrograde in your 7th house in this instance. And for others of you, this can see you overcoming some kind of relationship issue or challenge or problem that has been ongoing and that keeps, rearing its ugly head. Now, on the 7th of May, Venus will enter the sign of Cancer, and it will be there until the 5th of June. So Venus will be in Cancer in your 1st house from the 7th of May through till the 5th of June. This happens once a year, so it's not necessarily like it's a big deal, but feels good. Okay, to have Venus in your 1st house, you'll be feeling more attractive. You may be feeling more flirtatious. There may be more romantic options coming your way, or even just more opportunities to go on dates. And for some of you, you may be wanting to change up your hair, your appearance, how you present yourself, even how you dress as well. And, just continuing on though with the activities of the new moons and full moons. First of all, because you are Cancerians, you are ruled by the moon, which means that the new moon phases, the full moon phases, even just the moon phases in general, and certainly eclipses, impact you more than anyone else. Okay, so as a Gemini rising, these new moons and full moons, they don't impact me that much unless there's one in Gemini. But for you guys, it's like every month, you know, new moon, full moon, okay, my emotions are up and down and up and down. And this is why Cancers are thought to be moody. No offense. Now, on the 14th of May, there will be a full moon eclipse in Scorpio at 14 degrees in your 5th house. What did I just say? Eclipses are important for you guys as Cancerians. And this is occurring in your 5th house, which is your romantic dating life. And this eclipse is ruled by Mars. And Mars will be in Cancer at 21 degrees. So you can bet your bottom dollar that you will be impacted by this eclipse one way or another. Because it is opposite Mercury, which will be retrograde in Taurus, and also this eclipse will be opposite Uranus as well. Again, we're seeing some kind of revelation coming through when it comes to your dating life, your romantic life. So for some of you, this could indicate finally getting into a relationship with someone where there's been a lot of, let's say, ambiguity, or there's just been like uncertainty in that connection. To be fair, a full moon eclipse can indicate going your separate ways. All right, so because Mars is the ruler of the eclipse and it is in your 1st house, this indicates to me that if you go down that route, if a breakup ensues, it's your choice. It's not coming from the other person. It's on you, and that's your decision if you want to make it. Of course, this is a general reading, so just take it any which way that it applies. Either way, on the 14th of May, and I mean, you know, plus or minus a week or two with the eclipse energy, this full moon eclipse in your 5th house is like, whoa, now I know how I really feel about this person, or now I know how they feel about me. Scorpio rules over secrets. And because it is opposite Mercury, which is retrograde, and Uranus, which represents divine knowledge and information, it's like, finally, all the skeletons are coming out of the closet. You're saying how you feel to this person. They're saying how they feel to you. There is some kind of revelation that comes through here. And, you know, again, this could go either way. Maybe you or another person will be confessing your love to the other individual, or maybe you'll just be finally getting certain emotions off your chest. You know, whether these are ones that represent you wanting to move forward in the connection or wanting to pull back. Now, on the 3rd of July, there will be a full moon in Capricorn at 11 degrees, and this will be taking place in your 7th house. Now, this full moon will be opposite Mercury in Cancer in your 1st house. So with a full moon occurring in your 7th house, this can indicate a chapter coming to a close in a relationship or a situation reaching its peak, so to speak. And I don't see this as being a negative or harmful full moon, especially because the ruler of the full moon is Saturn. Saturn is in Pisces, and it's making a trine to the sun and a trine to Mercury. So for some of you, this could indicate becoming exclusive, or again, some kind of proposal or some kind of commitment, because it is Capricorn after all. To be fair, maybe you will be feeling like you have fulfilled a commitment. Maybe you don't see a relationship going any further than what it already has. Either way, I do see this as being more peaceful. It's more of a peaceful full moon, okay? Especially because it is trining Jupiter, which represents your future and the direction that you want to take things in. So it's like, even if you reach the end of the road and you're speaking to this other person that you're in a relationship with, I feel as though there would be some kind of amicable agreement here, or hey, I actually feel the same way too. So again, you could be taking things to the next step or the next level, or you could be walking away, but I don't see this as being a challenging full moon, so to speak. Now, on the 17th of July, so just a couple of weeks later, there will be a new moon in Cancer at 24 degrees, and it will be opposite Pluto at 29 degrees Capricorn. And again, Pluto rules over the 5th house. So this can indicate a new romantic cycle starting, a new romantic chapter starting. For some of you, this could be with someone that you feel that you have a past life connection with or karmic ties with. For others of you, this would actually be a great time to set intentions for calling love and romance into your life, if of course that is what you want. And also, Pluto can represent the death of something or the destruction of something. So if there is a romantic connection, whether this is someone that you're just casually dating or whether this is someone that you have been involved with for a long time, and you just want to cut ties, or maybe you're just obsessing over someone, this would be a great new moon to set intention to just cut ties with this person or cut the cord and not feel as though you are so affected by them and their energy. Now, looking at the month of November, we've got a new moon in Scorpio at 20 degrees conjunct Mars. So this will be in your 5th house and it's opposite Uranus. So this can indicate some kind of new chapter taking place that is unexpected. Maybe it starts off really hot and heavy. You could meet someone who is a Scorpio or an Aries or even an Aquarius, sun, moon or rising. And obviously I'm just giving you guys some of the hotspot dates for when you can expect romantic relationships to either commence, part ways, or progress from one state into the next. And, you know, as far as December is concerned, Venus will enter Scorpio in your 5th house on the 4th, and it will be there for the whole rest of the month. So this does portend good things for relationship energy and dating and your romantic life. In terms of other longer lasting transits and what we can expect, to be fair, Pluto being in Capricorn for 9 months of the year between 27 and 29 degrees will still be impacting my Cancerians who are on that tail end of Cancer. So even 26, 27, 28, 29 degrees, you may feel like you're winding down on a chapter with another person, or that you are close to getting over them, or going through some kind of rebirth or resurrection in a romantic connection. So I do think that you guys are going to be feeling amazing once Pluto leaves your 7th house, because ultimately you guys have been going through some pretty enormous highs and lows and transformations when it comes to love, romance, dating, marriage, commitment. And Pluto has been in Capricorn in your 7th house since 2008. So, you know, this has been a big part of your journey and what you have been experiencing for the better part of, 14, 15 years. And anyway, Cancer, I'm going to leave it there for today. If you enjoyed this horoscope, please give the video a thumbs up. If you want to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. If you want to purchase your 2023 yearly horoscope, you can do so by clicking on the link in the description box below. Best of luck for your romantic life in 2023, and I will see you guys next time. Hi Leos, welcome to your 2023 love horoscope. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that relationships and romantic connections have been tough for you guys since the end of 2020, if not even between March and July in 2020. So what I'm honing in on there is that's when Saturn first entered Aquarius. Okay, and then it went back into Capricorn for a little bit, and it's been in Aquarius since December 2020. So this only happens, as in Saturn only transits your 7th house once every 29.5 years. And when this occurs, there can be lots of burdensome energy when it comes to relationships, or we can feel like we're not as close with our significant other, or maybe our partner has been going through a difficult time. So Saturn being in the 7th house is not an easy transit to endure. Having said that, it's not as though Saturn doesn't like being in the 7th house. In fact, Saturn actually loves to be in the 7th house, and that is because the 7th house is all about commitments, vows, promises. It also rules over relationships, as in committed long-term relationships and marriages. So Saturn being in the 7th house could have actually brought you a new relationship, a more serious relationship, a proposal, or even a marriage. In fact, this happened to me when I had Saturn in my 7th house. I got married during that transit. So you know, it's not like it's all good, it's not like it's all bad, but one thing is for sure, when Saturn is in the 7th house, relationships feel a bit heavier, or there is like this big commitment that either we're making to our significant other or to another person, or we're wanting that commitment from them. So Saturn can represent delays, hardship, and it is associated with karma as well. So Saturn being in the 7th house could have indicated that you guys have had some pretty interesting and karmic connections, romantically speaking, with other people, whether these worked out and your relationship endured, or whether they fell by the wayside. So like I said, the good news is Saturn is leaving your 7th house, and that is occurring on the 7th of March. And once that happens, you guys will no doubt feel like a weight has been lifted off of your shoulders. Some of you may actually be finishing up a divorce during this period of time, or going through a separation. For others of you, if there has been some kind of distance between you and your significant other, now you can be reunited. And when I say distance, I mean this could be physical distance for some of you. Maybe you're living in different places, or one of you is working a lot and is not available for the other person. Or for some of you, this could be referring to emotional intimacy, feeling like you've got your partner back, so to speak. So like I said, Saturn will be out of there on the 7th of March, and so things will just feel a lot easier. It'll be easier for you to meet people, and your romantic connections, just generally speaking, obviously this is a general reading, they can improve essentially. So having said all this, I just wanted to focus in on the degrees that Saturn will be in for the first couple months of the year. So Saturn will be in Aquarius from 22 to 29 degrees. And that means that Leos between 22 and 29 degrees, you're finishing up this journey or this difficult period, or potentially difficult period, as we get into early March. Now, on the 23rd of March, Pluto is going to enter the sign of Aquarius, which means it is transiting your 7th house. Now, I don't want you guys to look at this transit and freak out thinking that that means the death of my marriage or my relationship. This is a 20-year transit, guys. In 2023, Pluto will only spend about 3 months in your 7th house. So that is from the 23rd of March through till the 11th of January. But, Pluto will transform your relationship. When I had Pluto in my 7th house, this is when I met my husband, got married, and we bought property together. All while Pluto was in my 7th house. And Pluto represents sex, intimacy, and mutual resources. So you can be engaging into a closer or more intimate relationship with another person, or a sexual relationship with another person, or you could be combining assets and resources together. So if anything, I don't want Leos to walk away from this video thinking that that Pluto being in the 7th house means bad things are coming to Leos with respect to relationships and dating. It's simply not true. Now, many of you during this transit will meet your soulmate or a partner who changes your life. Because Pluto is such a slow-moving planet, I would want you guys to focus in on the degree that your ascendant moon, or to a lesser extent sun, is at. In 2023, I wouldn't actually be going beyond 0 to 1 degrees. And like I said, this is a 20-year transit. So Pluto will be in Aquarius until 2043. But for 9 months of 2023, it is in Capricorn. Now, that does not mean that you have to wait like 10 years to meet your soulmate if you're a 15-degree Leo rising. That's categorically not what I'm saying at all. I am just going to be going through certain transits and, let's say, hotspot time periods where relationship connections may develop, may progress, and in some instances may end. And so that brings me to some of the new moons and full moons. Okay, on the 3rd of January, Venus is going to enter the sign of Aquarius. I'm going to start here and then I'm going to look at full moons and new moons. So Venus will be in Aquarius in your 7th house, and it will be there until the 27th of January. So this can see you getting into a romantic relationship, or in your existing connection or romantic partnership with another person, things can be going more smoothly. There can be more harmony in that relationship. Maybe you'll be you know, getting onto the same page, especially if there has been some kind of discord within this romantic partnership or connection. Because Venus rules over your 10th house, being Taurus, and the 10th house rules over your status, there could be a relationship status change here. So some of you could be entering into a relationship with another person, or you could just start dating someone else. Because the 7th house is more about a long-term commitment or something that's more serious, even if it's not long-term, I imagine that this would be taking something that is existing to the next level rather than meeting someone new. Nevertheless, looking at the 21st of January, this is when we're going to have a new moon in Aquarius at 1 degrees in your 7th house, and it will be conjunct Venus and Saturn. So Venus and Saturn will be at 23 and 24 degrees. So they will be having their conjunction the next day. And essentially, a new moon can indicate a new chapter starting in our lives, or a new cycle that is beginning, because Venus is a relationship planet and it is conjunct Saturn, which rules over this new moon and your 7th house. This really is an indicator for getting into something more serious, becoming more exclusive. For some of you, this could be connected to announcing publicly that you are in a relationship with another person, or you and your significant other could be signing contracts for something or doing something in an official capacity together. Now, on the 16th of February, there will be a full moon in Leo at 16 degrees, and this is going to be in your 1st house. It will be opposite Saturn and sextiling Mars in Gemini. So full moons indicate a situation reaching some kind of peak or a climax, or a situation simply coming full circle and it's, you know, gone as far as it can go. So with that being said, and with it being opposite Saturn in your 7th house, this can indicate that, again, you could be taking things to a serious level. You could be fulfilling some kind of commitment or promise to your significant other. This could actually be a proposal of sorts, and because we've got Saturn here, maybe there is a lot of planning that has gone behind this, or there is a heavy commitment that one of you is asking of the other. To be entirely fair, this can indicate the reverse, where you are feeling as though you have gone as far as you can go within an existing romantic relationship or connection. But moving a little further into the year, on the 4th of June, there will be a full moon in Sagittarius at 13 degrees in your 5th house. So the 5th house is more about dating, romance, and it is more lighthearted energy. So this is when things are in their infancy, or when things aren't that serious with someone just yet. What's interesting about this particular full moon is that the ruler of the full moon is Jupiter. And Jupiter is conjunct the North Node, which only happens once every 12 years approximately. And this will be in your 10th house. So the ruler of the full moon and your 5th house being conjunct the North Node in your 10th house, which rules over your status and your reputation, can indicate that you're going from just casually dating someone to being in a relationship. Now, the opposite can be true, where a relationship could suddenly come to a close or to an end. But I am inclined to see this as benefiting you in one way or another, because Jupiter represents blessings, and with Jupiter being conjunct the North Node, this is like an acceleration of your status. You know, this can see you being very visible in the public eye with respect to this connection, whether it's starting or whether it's ending. And I just want to say, if this relationship, potential relationship that you're in is ending, somehow this is going to benefit you. Now, for some of you, maybe there is another person in the picture and you're like, okay, you know, I'm letting go of one partnership to embark on a new one. For others of you, this could be to do with a work opportunity that comes through, or just needing to be liberated from this connection for one reason or another. Now, one of the most exciting times of the year for you Leos, which I'm sure many of you will be watching, will be Venus entering the sign of Leo and being there for 4 months. So Venus will be in Leo from the 5th of June till the 9th of October, and the retrograde period in Leo will be from the 22nd of July through to the 2nd or 3rd of September, depending where you live in the world. As for the degrees, we're looking at 28 degrees back through to 12 degrees. So the Leos who will be the most impacted will be those between 12 and 28 degrees. Now, Venus is a planet which represents relationships, beauty, attractiveness, our values, money, our sense of self-worth, our taste, sensuality, as well as fashion and design. So Venus being in Leo in your 4th house, hello Leos, you guys are going to be focusing on your appearance, feeling more beautiful. Maybe you'll be dressing differently. Maybe you will be switching up your style, whether this is to do with a haircut, your makeup, how you present. If you have facial hair, maybe you'll be playing around with that. You guys will definitely be working on your self-worth. You'll be feeling more attractive. And even though Venus retrograde in Leo can see you guys questioning your self-worth, questioning the relationships that you are in or that you want to be in, whatever the case may be, you will come out the other side of this 4-month transit feeling more beautiful, more attractive, and you will really be displaying how confident you are to the public, because Venus rules over your 10th house being Taurus. So this is like a very noticeable change in your appearance, in how you carry yourself, how you dress, how you approach romantic relationships, how you demand to be treated in these relationships, what you will stand for and what you won't stand for. And for some of you, this could also be like a recalibration of how you've been approaching romance and how you've been approaching relationships as well. So as far as the rest of the year is concerned, on the 1st of August, we've got a full moon in Aquarius at 9 degrees. Now it is squaring Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus, and this full moon will be in the 7th house. So for some of you, this could be a parting of ways in a romantic connection. And because this is occurring in your 7th house, I would say that this is more to do with a more serious relationship, or one where you've been together for a long time, or maybe you have kids together, property together, or you've got combined mutual resources in one way or another. It doesn't necessarily need to mean the end of a relationship. For others of you, you could actually be taking your commitment to a new level, but with the square to Jupiter and Uranus, somehow this could be I want to say threatening your independence, but it's more like cramping your style a little bit, or maybe there's a sense of urgency, or maybe one of you needs to travel or change your future plans in order to make this connection work. So lastly, on the 20th of December, there will be a new moon in Sagittarius in your 5th house, and it will be conjunct Mars. So your 5th house, like I said before, rules over dating and romance. Okay, so with a new moon occurring in the 5th house, for some of you, this is a new romantic start or a new chapter commencing, whether you are meeting someone new, whether you are starting to date again, especially if you've gone through a period of not dating. Because this new moon is conjunct Mars, there is an element of passion that comes through. Okay, so some of you could actually be meeting someone who is a Sagittarius or a Scorpio sun, moon, or rising, or Mars could feature very heavily in their chart, such as Mars conjunct the ascendant or Mars conjunct the sun. So in any case, Leo, I do see this as a year that just gets better and better for you as it progresses. And also, I just wanted to mention that Jupiter will be in Aries in your 9th house from the 20th of December through till the 16th of May. So Jupiter trining you, even though it's in the 9th house, is going to feel really, really good. This is going to bring blessings and abundance and good fortune and opportunities through to you. With Jupiter trining that 5th house of yours, as well as trining you as a sun, moon, or ascendant, there definitely is hope for relationships to either commence or improve during that first 4 or 5 months of the year. But I just want to stress that after the 7th of March, when Saturn leaves Aquarius in your 7th house, things are really going to start to feel better and better and better for you. So Leo, if you enjoyed this horoscope, please give the video a thumbs up. If you want to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. If you want to see your full 2023 yearly horoscope, you can do so by clicking on the link in the description box below. Wishing you many blessings for your love life in 2023, and I will see you guys next time. Hi Virgo, Sun, Moon and Risings. Welcome to your 2023 love horoscope. So there's lots going on for us Virgos. Yes, I say us because I myself am a Virgo moon. Now, I'm going to be focusing on transits to the 5th house, which is dating and romance, the 7th house, which represents your long-term committed relationships or more serious relationships, as well as transits to the 1st house, which activates that 1st and 7th house axes. So it would be remiss of me not to start with the fact that Saturn is entering the sign of Pisces. Saturn will be in Pisces in your 7th house from the 7th of March in 2023 until mid-February in 2026. There will be a brief 3-ish month period where Saturn will be in Aries in 2025, but we don't need to worry about that right now. So Saturn entering the 7th house can play out in several different ways. On one level, for those of you who are in a relationship and wanting to take things to the next level, or perhaps you've been in some sort of dating limbo, Saturn entering the 7th house can actually elevate the level of commitment within that connection to a higher level. I personally got engaged, married, and purchased property with my husband, all while Saturn was in my 7th house. So it's definitely possible for you to take things to the next level with someone that you are either casually dating or someone where, you haven't really solidified that relationship in a way which makes you feel secure. So Saturn really can bring through that security for you with it being in your 7th house. Now, in 2023, Saturn will only travel between 0 and 7 degrees. So the Virgos who will experience this the most, just in terms of the transit in general, will be Virgos between 0 and 7 degrees. That does not mean that any of this activity cannot occur during 2023 for those of you who are 8 to 29 degrees Virgo. It's just that it's more highlighted for you 0 to 7 degrees individuals. Now, of course, there are other ways that Saturn in Pisces can play out for you. For those of you who are in an existing relationship, this can indicate that there will be certain difficulties to work through, and for some of you this could even indicate distance in that relationship. So what I mean by this is that maybe you have to work abroad, or maybe your partner does, or perhaps one of you will be going through something where you just don't have as much time to invest in the relationship. So on one hand, there could be physical distance between you and your person, let's call it, or there could be an emotional distance between the two of you. I'm not going to lie, this can be a testing period for those of you who are already in an existing relationship, but that doesn't mean that your relationship can't survive. If anything, it could actually help to strengthen this connection, especially when we consider the fact that Neptune has been in Pisces in your 7th house very much alone since 2018. So prior to, let's say, early March in 2023, some of you may have experienced themes like unrequited love, sacrificing yourself in the name of love, your person or your partner going through either codependency issues or perhaps even addiction issues, or problems with, let's say, self-esteem or self-sacrificing behavior. The higher vibration of Neptune being in your 7th house indicates that from 2018, maybe some of you have met your one true love or your soulmate, or maybe you have experienced unconditional love for the first time. And some of you may have experienced really deep and profound healing within a relationship or a romantic connection, or perhaps this is just a really spiritual connection, even if there is some sort of distance between you and another person. So Saturn coming in to your 7th house to join Neptune indicates that if there has been confusion in a certain relationship, or if there has been a lack of stability or clarity surrounding what you two are or where the two of you are going, this can actually assist you in that department. And I am going to focus on some other transits as well. I just wanted to get Saturn in Pisces and Neptune in Pisces out of the way. Now, lastly, with Saturn in Pisces, it must be said that for some of you, this can lead to a breakdown in your relationship or in your marriage. And, some of you may be separating from your partner or filing for divorce. I don't want to freak you guys out though. This is a general reading, and just know that there's a lot of positive astrological activity that is coming through in your romantic sector, so do not fear. Now, on the 16th of May, Jupiter is going to enter the sign of Taurus, and it's going to be there for 12 months. So even though Jupiter will be in Taurus in your 9th house, Jupiter is still a very special planet when it comes to relationship energy for you guys, and that is because Jupiter is the ruler of your 7th house, which is your descendant. So Jupiter effectively represents the long-term committed partner, the soulmate, marriage partner, whatever you want to call it. So the ruler of the 7th house going into the 9th house indicates that some of you may actually be getting married within this 12-month period. And obviously I mentioned that already with Saturn being in Pisces, but now we're fleshing it out from, well, actually we're containing it to a 12-month window, and this is simply amplified. Saturn being in Pisces and then Jupiter being in Taurus in your 9th house kind of doubles down on that energy. Now, some of you may be meeting your significant other with the help of this Jupiter in Taurus trine to you as a Virgo sun, moon, or rising. So you could meet this partner overseas. They could be a foreigner, you could be traveling, they could be traveling, and you could meet them while you're on some kind of adventure. You could meet them through the education system, they could be a publisher, or you could even meet them through the court system, or they could be involved in, let's say, foreign affairs or politics, or they could be very spiritual or perhaps religious in nature, and you could certainly meet this person through spirituality or through religion, let's say. So Jupiter will be traversing the degrees of 0 to 15. So that means that in 2023, Virgos between 0 to 15 degrees are going to experience that trine. That doesn't mean that the rest of you Virgos have no luck in the romantic department. I'm simply just highlighting that 0 to 15 degrees are going to be experiencing the trine in 2023, and the rest of you will experience it from the beginning of 2024 through till the end of May in 2024. So, Jupiter is the planet of luck, blessings, and abundance. So we love to see Jupiter and Taurus trining us Virgos as earth signs. So this can bring more excitement, more spontaneity, blessings to your existing romantic connection if you are in one. And of course, this could even indicate freedom from a romantic connection, but this would be a blessing somehow because it is coming through as a trine. So maybe this is you wanting to leave a partnership or a romantic connection, or perhaps you've actually been trying to I want to say escape or get away from someone who has really had some kind of hold over you. And, essentially Jupiter and Taurus is going to feel really, really good for us Virgos. Now, Pluto will be in Capricorn for 9 months of the year, and this means Pluto will be in your 5th house between 27 and 29 degrees. So for those of you who are Virgo sun, moon, or risings between, well, let's say 26 to 29 degrees, you guys are experiencing the trine from Pluto. So some of you may be closing out a very difficult chapter when it comes to romance, dating, and honestly just having fun and enjoying yourself in romantic connections. Because Pluto is trining you, this can also indicate meeting a soulmate. I personally met my husband when Pluto made an exact trine to my Virgo moon. So if you are a Virgo, well, rising moon and to a lesser degree sun between 26 to 29 degrees, this can essentially portend good things for soulmate connections and meeting someone special or simply taking things to the next level. Now, as far as the activities of Venus is concerned, From the 27th of January through till the 20th of February in 2023, Venus will be in Pisces in your 7th house. And Venus is exalted in Pisces. It loves to be there. So this is a very, very positive transit as far as romance and dating is concerned. And it doesn't matter what degree you are as a Virgo, you know, Venus will be going all the way through Pisces in your 7th house during that period of time, very early on in the year. So this is when we can meet romantic connections. This is when we can experience more harmony and balance in our existing relationships and partnerships. And, you know, if we're taking it through to looking at some of the new moon and full moon activity, on the 20th of February, there will be a new moon in Pisces, and this will be at 1 degrees and occurring in your 7th house. So new moons indicate a new chapter or a new beginning starting somewhere in our lives. And because this is occurring in your 7th house, this does indicate that for many of you, there will be some kind of activity or development which is connected to your romantic life. And, you know, in saying this, we've got Neptune at 24 degrees Pisces and Venus at 29 degrees Pisces. So the fact that we are involving Venus, which is a planet of relationships and love, and this is occurring in the 7th house, which rules over these committed relationships and partnerships, some of you may be entering into a relationship which is more serious, or there could be like a higher level of commitment that is coming through. And with Venus at 29 degrees Pisces, you know, some of you could be looking at closing out a chapter or just saying goodbye to the old to bring in something new. So that is another way that this could be playing out for you. If we're looking at the 7th of March, where we've got a full moon in Virgo at 16 degrees, you know, full moons can indicate a situation reaching its peak or reaching some kind of climax or culmination point. So this can bring a lot of insights into a romantic situation which has been confusing you on some level, especially because with this full moon, we've got it being conjunct Mercury and opposite Mercury. So Mercury will be in Pisces, Neptune will be in Pisces as well. And to be fair, this full moon is squaring Mars in Gemini. So there may be some kind of conflictual situation which rocks up in respect to you and another romantic connection. But this is all about getting the truth and understanding where to go from here. So you may actually feel as though you're reaching some kind of crossroads around the 7th of March, plus or minus 2 weeks, but this can bring amazing clarity through for you. And because your chart ruler Mercury is involved in this full moon, I do see this as you being the one that is calling the shots, or you being the one who is either revealing how you feel or discovering how another person feels about you. Now on the 3rd of July, there will be a full moon in Capricorn at 11 degrees, and this is occurring in your 5th house, which is connected to dating and romance. And we're actually going to have Mercury, which again is your chart ruler, being opposite this full moon. So this does indicate that there is some kind of development when it comes to dating, romance, and your love life. Because this is conjunct Mercury in your 11th house, this may actually involve a friend, or there could even be a relationship status change for you where you are either taking things to the next level or perhaps making it public that you and this other individual are dating, or perhaps there could be some level of awareness that comes through about your involvement with another person. This particular full moon is actually making a sextile to Saturn in Pisces at 7 degrees. So again, you know, we're tying in the 1st house, the 7th house, and the 5th house. So if you're wanting things to achieve a new level of commitment or a high level of commitment around the 3rd of July, looks like a pretty potent date for that to take place. And some of you may even want to take the lead in that department. Now, we're actually going to have a Mercury retrograde from the 23rd of August through till the 15th of September. And during this period of time, there'll also be a full moon in Pisces in your 7th house. So translation, the 23rd of August through till the 15th of September can indicate that there are some really, really big changes that are coming through to your romantic status. So the reason why I'm saying this is because we've got that activation of your 1st house, which pulls in your 7th house as well. And with Mercury ruling over your 10th house, which is Gemini, this is like, are we together? Are we not together? Are we, trying again? Are we separating? Some of you may be making some kind of announcement about the status of an existing relationship, or it can progress to an official level, especially with Mercury being retrograde. If there's been some kind of wishy-washiness about the status of this connection, there can be some clarity that is coming through for you. And even if there's no changes that are coming through necessarily, I imagine that many of you will be reconsidering your relationship status during this period of time. Now, on the 31st of August, which is smack bang in the middle of this Mercury retrograde in Virgo in your 1st house, we're actually going to have a full moon in Pisces at 7 degrees, and it's going to be conjunct Saturn. So again, this is one of those indicators for your commitment to another person either pulling through, especially if there's been a lot of doubt or going back and forth about this connection, or this can be the undoing of that, where you want to take a step back from a connection, but this time there is some sense of finality to that decision, because when we've got a new moon or a full moon coinciding with a Mercury retrograde, it can really bring through that clarity that we've been seeking. So obviously there are quite a few dates that I'm mentioning where we can see some kind of potent activity coming through. The last one I'm going to mention in the way of new moons and full moons, though, would be the new moon in Virgo, which is occurring on the 15th of September, which is the day that Mercury goes direct once more. So, there's huge stuff happening in terms of relationships, where things are going, what the status is, if you guys want to take things to the next level, if things are going too fast, if you want to separate, file for divorce, get into something serious, take things to the next level. For some of you during this period of time, there could be movement on the living circumstances front, whether this is you deciding that you finally want to move in with this individual, or maybe you're looking at moving out and switching up your living circumstances with another person. So this really is a hotspot period of time to watch. And actually, I do want to mention one more thing when it comes to your dating and romantic situation. Lastly, we're going to have Venus in Virgo from the 9th of October through till the 8th of November. So this can indicate that you are feeling more attractive, having more options from a romantic perspective. So you may find that, you're feeling very flirtatious around this time, or maybe you're looking at going on a number of different dates with multiple people. Venus in Virgo in your 1st house can see you assessing what you want in a relationship and in a partnership. And once again, this can see you being very attractive and feeling like, you've got options and that you don't need to make any kind of, serious decision when it comes to surveying how many people are going to be knocking on your door wanting to take you out. So Virgo, if you enjoyed this horoscope, please give the video a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. If you want to purchase your 2023 yearly horoscope, you can do so by clicking on the link in the description box below. Enjoy your 2023 Virgos, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Hi Libras, welcome to your 2023 love horoscope. I'm really excited to speak to you today about what is in store for you guys in 2023, because there really is a lot happening for you in your romantic sectors. So first of all, let's start off by looking at Jupiter being in Aries. Jupiter first entered Aries on the 10th of May in 2022, and then it went back into Pisces for a little bit from the end of October. Now, Jupiter will re-enter Aries on the 20th of December, where it will remain until the middle of May in 2023. So that means that as we start off the year, Jupiter is in your 7th house, and the 7th house is connected to romantic partnerships, serious relationships, as well as proposals of all kinds and marriage. So with Jupiter being a planet which brings luck, blessings, good fortune, and prosperity, this portends great things for you in a romantic sense, with Jupiter being in your 7th house. So for some of you who are single, this can indicate meeting a person whom you take things to the next level with. This can also indicate, for those of you who are already in existing relationships, that you may be traveling with your significant other, or you may be proposing to them, they may be proposing to you, there may be a marriage which is taking place during this period of time. And because Jupiter rules over growth and expansion, things can pick up really, really quickly with Jupiter being in Aries, especially as Aries is a fire sign. Now, from the 17th of July, the North Node will enter the sign of Aries, while the South Node will enter Libra. And the North Node and the South Node will transit Aries and Libra respectively for 18 months until January in 2025. So let's just say that, maybe you don't meet someone in the first 4 or 5 months of the year. This transit, which is 18 months long, does indicate a very good chance of actually entering into a romantic partnership. So don't worry if nothing happens in the first 4 or 5 months of the year. We've still got from July onwards, and I will also be going through other transits as well, such as Pluto entering Aquarius and a bunch of new moons and full moons. So make sure you stick around for all of it if you want to know more about your love sector in 2023. So with the North Node entering your 7th house from mid-July, this can indicate that a new romantic partnership can develop very, very quickly. This could be with someone who is of a rather different, I suppose, take on what you would usually go for. And that is because the North Node represents things which are foreign, exciting. It has a very ambitious and exploratory energy. It's kind of like a combination between Mars and Uranus energy. So things could start off really passionately, or, if you meet someone during this period of time, maybe you go through a lot of steps that would normally take a while in a relationship. So for example, maybe you go on a couple of dates with this person and then all of a sudden you're traveling together, or you haven't been dating for very long and all of a sudden you're moving in together or getting engaged or starting a family. Or maybe during this 18-month period, you'll do a lot of those steps and other people in your life might be like, whoa, things are moving really quickly with this person. So the North Node just has this impatient and excitable energy to it, as well as a passionate and sexual energy as well. So like I said, the nature of the kinds of people that you date could be changing with this particular transit. Now, as far as Pluto changing signs is concerned, this will occur on the 23rd of March. So Pluto will enter Aquarius on the 23rd of March, and it will only stay at 0 degrees, and it will actually go back into Capricorn on the 11th of June. So it's not even 3 months of Pluto being in Aquarius. Nevertheless, it's still a very important transit to consider, because the 5th house is all about romance, dating, sex, and with Pluto being here in your 5th house, this indicates that there is a whole new cycle that is starting, and this cycle will span for like 20 years. So the Libras who will be affected the most in 2023 by this change would be those who are between 0 and 1 degrees. Nevertheless, you may just find that you're feeling differently about your romantic life or about your dating life during this 3-month period of time. And just so you know, I met my husband when Pluto made an exact trine to the degree to my moon in Virgo. So if you are a Libra moon, or even if you're a Libra rising, less so Libra sun, when Pluto makes that trine to you, this can indicate meeting your soulmate or someone who you have a past life connection with, or someone whom you have a very deep connection with. And, you know, that doesn't mean that you're not going to meet your soulmate for 20 years if you're a 29-degree Libra. So don't worry about that. I am going to go through a number of different transits during this reading, and hopefully this will cover everything for all kinds of Libras. So first things first, on the 3rd of January until the 27th of January, Venus will be in Aquarius in your 5th house. This is an excellent time of the year, every year when Venus is in Aquarius as far as dating and romance is concerned. And that is because the 5th house rules over dating and Venus is your chart ruler. So when your chart ruler goes into the 5th house, this tells me that this is what you're focusing on. So this is when you can have more success in romance, dating. Even if you're already in a romantic relationship, this can simply indicate that you are having more fun, going on more dates, and feeling more flirtatious. Now, we will have a new moon in Aquarius at 1 degrees, and this will be occurring in your 5th house. And if I didn't mention it already, this is on the 21st of January. So the reason why this one is significant is, first of all, new moons indicate a new chapter starting somewhere in our lives. With this being in your 5th house, this can indicate dating someone new, or this could indicate that someone that you were dating wants to take their romantic commitment with you to the next level. The reason why I'm saying this is because although the new moon is at 1 degrees Aquarius, Venus and Saturn will be at 23 and 24 degrees Aquarius respectively. So this is like tying in a Venus-Saturn conjunction to the new moon, which really packs a punch here because Venus is a relationship planet and Saturn represents commitment. And some of you could very well be entering into some kind of commitment with a romantic partner during this period of time, and maybe, you know, you guys are just becoming exclusive, or you are, you know, committing to seeing where things are going. So that is an exciting new moon to watch. Now, on the 21st of March, there will be a new moon in Aries at 0 degrees, and this new moon will actually be conjunct Mercury at 5 degrees and also conjunct Jupiter at 16 degrees. So, you know, we do have a stellium of planets in Aries for this particular new moon. And again, new moons indicate a new chapter or a new beginning or a new cycle taking place. So with this being in your 7th house, this can indicate that there is a higher level of commitment that wants to come through. Because we've got Jupiter here, this could actually entail some kind of proposal. For some of you, you may even be already planning to get married around this period of time. And for others of you, because the new moon is conjunct Mercury and Mercury rules over friendships, this could actually see you, you know, taking a friendship with another person to the next level. And for those of you who are already in existing relationships, I do need to mention that because this new moon is with Jupiter, this can indicate a desire for freedom from a particular connection or relationship. So, you know, it can swing the other way. And I don't want to sugarcoat these readings. I want to give a really balanced overview. So just remember that this is a general reading. You can't take everything that I say as gospel because, you know, the most accurate readings will always come through in private readings, not in general readings. Now, if we're looking at the energy of April, there will be a full moon in Libra at 16 degrees in your 1st house, and this full moon in Libra will actually be almost exactly opposite Chiron. Okay, so Chiron is the asteroid which represents the wounded healer in astrology, and when we've got this involved very tightly in orb in a new moon or a full moon, there is some kind of healing that needs to take place. So if there has been issues in your existing relationship or in a romantic connection that you have with another person, this is actually a prime opportunity for you to understand why certain things are hurting you in a relationship, or why you may find that you are potentially hurting your partner or your significant other in this relationship. And if you are single, ready to mingle, this this full moon in Libra in your first house can indicate having awareness around relationships and why they haven't been going the way that you want, or why an existing connection hasn't been proceeding the way that you want. So I would say that this is a very enlightening and revelatory full moon, which once again will be on the 6th of April. Now, on the 20th of April, this is getting exciting. We've got a new moon in Aries at 29 degrees, and this is occurring in your 7th house, and it is conjunct Jupiter at 23 degrees. So a new moon eclipse in your 7th house is a surefire way to take a relationship to the next level, or for there to be some kind of powerful development in that department. So for some of you, this could be that you are wanting to take things to a more committed status. You may be looking at proposing. This is a time where you can receive a proposal of sorts, whether that is a marriage proposal or something which would indicate solidifying your relationship or giving it more of an official status. Again, to be fair, because this new moon is conjunct Jupiter, this can indicate a desire for freedom from a particular relationship or connection. But just remember that it is conjunct Jupiter. You know, this is the planet of blessings and abundance and good fortune. So overall, I do see this as being an exciting eclipse, which can indicate getting into a relationship, meeting a soulmate, getting proposed to, proposing to another person, or perhaps your significant other could be falling pregnant around the time of this eclipse. So it is on the 20th of April, but we do look at a plus or minus 3 or 4 week window situation, because, you know, eclipse energy can be with us for like a month before or after. Now, I forgot to mention that Venus will be in Aries from the 20th of February until the 16th of March. So this would be another hotspot time for you for romantic things to develop in an exciting way, or where you could actually be meeting someone new. And moving along though, on the 1st of August, there will be a full moon in Aquarius, and this is occurring in your 5th house. So with this full moon in Aquarius, it is occurring at 9 degrees, and it will actually be making a square to Jupiter in Taurus and a wide square to Uranus in Taurus. So, you know, full moons in the 5th house can indicate a situation reaching its peak or some kind of climax. The square to Jupiter and Uranus represents to me that there could be some kind of acceleration with where this connection is going, whether this is, you know, suddenly getting into a relationship or suddenly wanting to end your connection with another person. There could be some kind of revelation or truth that is spoken either from you to someone else or vice versa, and this could really take you by surprise. It doesn't necessarily need to be a bad thing with the square to Jupiter and Uranus. It could just be like how you saw this connection proceeding could be shifting on its axis. Now, that could be for better or for worse. Maybe you thought that you had more time being single and this person is, you know, sort of applying a bit of pressure, or maybe you feel like there is some kind of important decision that you would need to make to solidify this connection or to decide the fate of it. It does feel kind of make it or break it energy, I'm not going to lie, but there's also something really exciting about this particular full moon. So once again, that will be on the 1st of August. Now, lastly, let's go out with a bang and look at the new moon eclipse in Libra at 21 degrees in your 1st house. This can indicate a new relationship starting, and again, this could be taking things to the next level, some kind of exciting new development that comes through. This new moon eclipse is conjunct Mercury, so for some of you, this could indicate that you are finding out that a friend has a crush on you, or this could be someone who is like a co-worker, a client, a friend of a friend. There is an exciting energy to this particular new moon eclipse, especially as it is in your 1st house. And, you know, romance aside, a new moon eclipse in the 1st house can indicate a change in direction when it comes to what you want to do with your life. But because this is in the sign of Libra, which is connected to partnerships and relationships, there could be like some sort of epiphany that comes through for you around the 14th of October. And because the new moon eclipse is in your first house, this indicates to me that there is a level of autonomy or independence or action that you are able to take when it comes to the direction that your romantic love life is going in. So Libra, I hope you enjoyed this love horoscope. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up. If you want to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. If you want to purchase your yearly horoscope for 2023, I've got a flash sale going on, which I mentioned in the intro, so you can grab yours for 25% off by clicking on the link in the description box below. Enjoy 2023 Libras, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Hi Scorpios, welcome to your 2023 love horoscope. Believe it or not, 2023 is a lucky year for you when it comes to romance. I'm going to start off by talking about Jupiter entering Taurus, which will occur on the 16th of May, and then I'm going to talk about the North Node being in Taurus, and then we'll have a look at some of the new moons and the full moons and the activity of Venus. So, Jupiter only goes through Taurus in your 7th house once every 12 years. This is one of the most positive and key indicators for romance blossoming or even a new romantic connection taking place. So Jupiter will be in Taurus from the 16th of May in 2023 until the 24th of May in 2024. And to add to the mix that we've got the ruler of your 5th house, which is Pisces, being in the 7th house, I mean, this is a great time for you guys, romantically speaking. So for those of you who are single and looking, this can indicate getting into a relationship which is of a more serious nature. And that is because while the 5th house rules over dating and casual dating, romance, sex, etc., the 7th house is where we see these committed long-term relationships taking place. So with Jupiter being in your 7th house, you could be taking a situation where you are just seeing someone or you're dating and you're just, wanting to see where it goes, and then taking it to that higher level of commitment. So maybe you'll be becoming exclusive during this period of time. And for those of you who are already in an existing relationship, this can take things to the next level further still. So for example, you may receive a marriage proposal, or you may do the proposing during this period of time. You may actually get married within this 12-month period of time. And for others of you, with Jupiter representing your vision for the future, simply having Jupiter in the 7th house could indicate that you and your significant other are making some solid plans for the future, or you're dreaming big, or maybe there's just talk about becoming more serious, or there could be talk about, getting married or getting engaged. Not that everyone has to get married, of course. I just wanted to mention it because this is something which is jumping out pretty obviously to me as an astrologer. Now, moving along from Jupiter being in Taurus, I want to hone in on the fact that the North Node will still be in Taurus as we enter 2023. So the North Node transiting your 7th house is another key indicator for a romantic relationship taking off, meeting someone new. This could be a karmic connection or a soulmate connection. And essentially we are going to have a little bit of overlap where Jupiter's in Taurus at the same time as the North Node being in Taurus. So that overlap will be from the 16th of May in 2023 until like the 16th or the 17th of July. So this would be a core period of time where if you are single, ready to mingle and looking, this is when romance can enter your life. Now, just in terms of having the energy of the North Node in your 7th house for 18 months, this can actually indicate that the kinds of people you are attracted to could be shifting, could be changing. There could be a situation where you meet someone and, maybe things get passionate straight away, or perhaps you enter into a relationship very quickly. And this could have already taken place for you guys somewhere between January 2022 and now as you are watching this video, or again, that could take place between January and July in 2023. So the North Node has this very adventurous, exploratory, and also passionate and sexual side to it. So you could find that you are attracted to people who are adventurous, ambitious, or who are very charismatic. And like I said, things could be moving really, really quickly, especially when we have that overlap period between mid-May and mid-July in 2023. So things could really be picking up the pace. Now, I want to talk about the activities of Venus as well as various new moons and full moons. So from the 27th of January till the 20th of February, we're going to have Venus entering Pisces, and it will be there for that whole period of time in your 5th house. So having the ruler of the 7th house, which is Taurus, being in the 5th house does portend good things for romance. So this could indicate that you are going on more dates, that you could be enjoying your time with your significant other, you could be going on a vacation together, and even if you're single and you're not getting into anything during this period of time, you may just feel inclined to put yourself out there to date. Maybe you're going on dating apps or websites, and this can be a time where you're just feeling more attractive, more flirtatious, and you could certainly be attracting more attention to you. Now, on the 20th of February, we're going to have a new moon in Pisces, and this is taking place at 1 degrees in your 5th house. So new moons indicate a new chapter taking place or some kind of new beginning. Now, with this occurring in your 5th house, this can indicate that you meet someone new, that there's the start of a new relationship, and this is more on the casual side of things because it is in that 5th house. So if you are already in an existing relationship and you're getting to the 20th of February in 2023, more or less this could just indicate that you are looking for new ways to have fun with your significant other, or there could be a new chapter starting in your sex life. Now on the 16th of March, we're going to have Venus entering Taurus, and Venus will be there until the 11th of April. So having the ruler of the 7th house in the 7th house, or transiting the 7th house, I should say, again is a good indicator for romance going well and basically just enjoying time with your significant other. Things can feel more harmonious and more balanced, and it would be remiss of me not to discuss the fact that you will have Saturn being in Aquarius for the first couple of months of the year. So in terms of how this can impact you, first of all, Saturn will be in Aquarius from 22 degrees through till 29 degrees as we start 2023 and as we get to the 7th of March in 2023. So Saturn in Aquarius is in your 4th house, and it is squaring you as a Scorpio sun, moon, or rising. So especially if you are a Scorpio ascendant or a Scorpio moon, this could be putting a lot of pressure on you, especially if you are already in a marriage or a committed long-term relationship, or if you have a family with your partner, or if you share property together, or even if you simply live together. So things may have been really tough for you from the end of 2020 when Saturn first entered Aquarius. In fact, Saturn was in Aquarius from March until July in 2020 before going back into Capricorn. So there could have been some difficulties that were flaring up around that period of time. Maybe you and your significant other have been trying to figure out whether you want to stay together, whether you want to try and make things work. There could be a lot of pressure on you in terms of family commitments, or there could have been struggles with living with your significant other. Now, I'm just sharing this with you because Saturn is going to leave Aquarius on the 7th of March. It won't be in Aquarius again for another 3 decades. So this is when your living situation can improve for those of you who are in a committed relationship with another person. And this is like we're getting it out of the way as we enter 2023 pretty quickly. So those of you who would be most impacted by this would be Scorpios between 22 and 29 degrees. Now, if you are a Scorpio and you're single, it may be that Saturn squaring you has put a lot of pressure on you to find a partner, settle down, or maybe a situation which is associated with your family, or with even family commitments or your present living circumstances or property circumstances. This could have been impeding your ability to find love and enter into a romantic relationship. So, all of this is starting to clear up for you, I should say, as we enter March, and also Saturn entering Pisces in your 5th house from the 7th of March will be trining you as a Scorpio sun, moon, or rising, and Saturn will be in Pisces between 0 and 7 degrees in 2023, and the rest will follow as we move in through to 2026. So the Scorpios who would be most impacted by Saturn being in Pisces would be those between 0 and 7 degrees. And this can actually indicate getting into a solid relationship. Okay, so if there's been some kind of elusive situation, especially with Neptune in Pisces in your 5th house, where you're like, I don't know how they feel, they don't know how I feel, we can't get onto the same page. Or even if there has just been relatively no activity or very little activity since 2018 when Neptune entered your 5th house, Saturn now entering Pisces on the 7th of March can indicate that there's more hope in this department, or you're able to, get this other person to commit, or maybe it was you who didn't want to commit and you didn't know why. And now Saturn entering Pisces in your 5th house can see you feeling more comfortable with the idea of committing to another person. So on the 5th of May, there will be a full moon eclipse at 14 degrees in Scorpio, and this is going to be in your 1st house. So eclipses that occur in our 1st or our 7th house axes really do indicate a change in dynamic that comes through on the relationship front. So what's interesting about this full moon eclipse is that it's actually going to be opposite Uranus at 18 degrees, and it will also be opposite Mercury, which will be retrograde at 8 degrees Taurus. So the fact that this eclipse is in Scorpio, first of all, it indicates information coming to see the light of day, some kind of revelation, some kind of insight or breakthrough. And with Mercury being retrograde in Taurus and conjunct the Sun, and Uranus being conjunct the Sun as well, this indicates that there is some kind of breakthrough. Okay, I know how this person feels, or I'm confessing my feelings for this person. Or maybe you just have a sudden intuitive download when it comes to the future of this connection. It could even be early days with someone and you just have like some sort of intuitive or psychic vision where you're like, I know where this is going, or I know what the next step is, or I know what I need to do. And, to be very fair, this can indicate the end of a romantic connection with another person, whether this is casual, whether this is serious. And I just want to say, guys, that because this eclipse is occurring in your 1st house, this actually indicates to me that it would be you who is calling the shots and making this decision. And, for some of you, this could actually take you by surprise, especially if you felt as though you were pretty solid in this connection. Now, we are actually going to have a Mercury retrograde period, which is from the 20th of April. Sorry, I didn't do that in order, guys. Anyway, it is from the 21st of April, I beg your pardon, until the 14th of May. Okay, so with Mercury being retrograde in your 7th house, which is connected to your relationships, this can see you analyzing, am I happy? What do I want out of this connection? What's the end goal? How far can we go? Am I wasting my time? Are they wasting my time, unbeknownst to me? So this can see you having some pretty huge epiphanies and realizations when it comes to knowing what you want to do within a certain connection. And certainly some of you could actually be reconciling with an ex or getting back together, and maybe that's a part of this eclipse event or this eclipse story for you guys. Now, the 19th of May, there will be a new moon in Taurus at 28 degrees, and this will be conjunct Mercury, and we're also going to have Jupiter at 0 degrees. So we've got the Sun, Mercury, the Moon, and Jupiter all in Taurus, which is excellent, and Uranus, I beg your pardon. So 5 planets, hello. With all of this occurring in your 7th house, this actually is a very auspicious new moon, I would say, for a new relationship breaking out. or breaking ground in a new relationship, I should say. And even if you're already in an existing relationship, this does spell, taking commitment to the next level. With Jupiter being conjunct the North Node in this new moon, this indicates to me that there is some kind of acceleration here. And with Uranus here too, it's like things are moving along at a very quick pace. So there could be some kind of unexpected development. Maybe you take things from 0 to 100 real quick. There could be a proposal of sorts that comes through. There could be discussion about your future, and for some of you this could be quite unexpected, or maybe you're talking about starting a family together, and again this could be coming out of nowhere, whether this is you previously not having wanted to start a family, or your significant other, or it could come down to timing where you guys were like, oh, I thought that this was going to be ages in the future, and now we're suddenly talking about it. Or this could actually indicate that your significant other could be falling pregnant, especially because we've got Jupiter here in your 7th house. So lastly, guys, on the 13th of November, there will be a new moon in Scorpio at 20 degrees, and this new moon is actually going to be conjunct Mars at 22 degrees. So when we have a new moon in our 1st house and conjunct Mars, which is our chart ruler, this indicates that there is some kind of action that you are wanting to take. It's also going to be opposite Uranus, guys, and Jupiter's going to be in the mix as well. So there is something exciting and something very passionate about this new moon that is taking place. And again, I just want to emphasize that I see this as the action that you are taking. So it's like, do you want to enter into a relationship? Do you want to take things to the next level? Do you want to ask someone out? Do you want to ask someone to be exclusive? The other side of the coin is that you may decide that you want to be single, and this could take you by surprise, or this could take your partner by surprise. And as we close out the year, from the 4th to the 30th of December, we'll have Venus in Scorpio in your 1st house. So as the year ends, you'll be feeling more attractive, more beautiful, more flirtatious. If you are single, there could be some dating opportunities that come your way. And so Scorpio, if you enjoyed this horoscope, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. If you want to purchase your 2023 yearly horoscope at 25% off for 7 days only, you can do so by clicking on the link in the description box below. Enjoy your year ahead, and I'll see you guys next time. Hi Sagittarians, welcome to your 2023 love horoscope. As we enter 2023, there may still be some confusion with respect to a romantic connection that you are involved in. And that is because Mars will still be retrograde in Gemini as the year commences. But don't worry, things are going to start clearing up and becoming a lot less confusing for you. So essentially why this is impacting you on a romantic level is because Mars is the ruler of your 5th house, and your 5th house is connected to your dating and romantic life, and it is retrograde in your 7th house, which represents a committed partnership or relationship. So for those of you who are in an existing relationship already, Mars being retrograde in the 7th house can indicate that on one level, you may be trying to work through some issues that have occurred in your relationship or in your marriage. Some of you may actually be going through the process of a separation during this period of time. It definitely doesn't need to be the case, but of course I want to throw all the options out there. Now, for others of you, you could actually be reuniting with an ex, or having some kind of enlightening conversation with someone who you have been interested in. So the reason why I'm saying this is because Mars being retrograde indicates that there is a certain situation which is coming back to the forefront. So it doesn't matter where you are on the spectrum, whether you are single, whether you are already in a relationship, this energy is like bringing stuff back from the past. So if you're dating someone, this could be an old issue that is coming up and you're seeing it in a new light. Or maybe you've tried to make things work in the past, and this time you're like, no, this can't go on. We can't get past this roadblock. And even if you were previously involved with someone, you could be reconciling, you could be giving things another go. Now, if you are well and truly single, and there's no one on the horizon, there's no one currently with you, there's no one that you're even speaking to as an ex, this particular Mars retrograde period can just see you redefining what you want in a relationship, and maybe you are assessing the ways in which your behavior has contributed to some self-sabotaging instances. And I'm saying this because Mars rules over your 12th house, which is Scorpio, which represents self-sabotaging behavior. So there could be a very big introspective period that you go through where it's like you're just assessing, what your relationships are like, what you want, what you don't want, what you will accept, what you won't accept. And you could also be going through a period of time where you need to assert certain boundaries within these romantic connections. So now that the nitty-gritty stuff is out of the way, we can focus on Jupiter being in Aries in your 5th house. So first of all, Jupiter spent about 5 months being in Aries from the 10th of May till the end of October in 2022. Then it went back into Pisces, but from the 20th of December in 2022 through till the 16th of May in 2023, Jupiter will be back in Aries in your 5th house. Yay! This is awesome for you guys as Sagittarians because Jupiter is the planet that rules you. So this indicates that wherever Jupiter goes, whatever it's doing, this is you and what you're doing. So with your chart ruler being in the 5th house, which is connected to love, dating, romance, and sex, this can see you entering into a new relationship, or you could just be having more fun. If you're already in an existing relationship, this could indicate that there is some kind of rebirth coming through, or a reigniting of the spark, so to speak. And in any case, this is just such an exciting time for you on a romantic level. Now, it would be remiss of me not to discuss the fact that Saturn will be entering Pisces on the 7th of March. So first of all, this indicates that Saturn will be squaring you as a Sagittarius sun, moon, or rising. And essentially, Saturn has not been in Pisces for nearly 30 years. Now, square energy can pose some kind of challenge or hardship, but with this being in your 4th house, for some of you, this can indicate settling down, putting roots down with another person, feeling like you have more security within either a new relationship or an existing relationship. This could actually indicate that you will be starting a family or perhaps expanding your family during this period of time. And the reason why I'm saying this is because the 4th house rules over family, and Saturn will be in Pisces squaring you for, 3 years. Okay, so from the 7th of March till the middle of February in 2026, bar about 3 months in 2025. So essentially this can indicate that there is some kind of seriousness that is coming through with your family dynamic if you have a family, or if you're looking at starting a family or expanding your family. So it doesn't need to be something to fear. Having said that, Saturn in Pisces for some of you may indicate the breakdown of a family connection or relationship. So, if you have a well set up or well established relationship with another person, you could be going through a period of separation. So I definitely don't want to freak you guys out. Obviously, we've got the good with the bad with these transits, but overwhelmingly, I would say Jupiter in Aries is countering this energy or this seriousness that comes through with Saturn in Pisces. But of course, some of you may be wanting to settle down or wanting to put roots down. So just so you're aware, Saturn will be traveling between 0 and 7 degrees Pisces in 2023. So that means that the Sagittarians who will feel this the most, as in the influence of Saturn the most, will be those between 0 and 7 degrees. So with that out of the way, now let's have a look at the activities of Venus and some of the new moons and full moons for 2023. So early in the year, we've got Venus being in Aries. So this is from the 20th of February till the 16th of March. Venus transiting your 7th house is one of the best transits for love and romance. So this can see you meeting someone new if you're single, or you could be taking things to the next level with a friend, given that Venus rules over your 11th house, which is Libra, or it could be taking things to a romantic level with someone who you work with, given that Venus rules over your 6th house, or it could even be like someone at the gym, just as an example. So even if you're in an existing relationship, this can see you experiencing more harmony and blessings in that relationship, and you could feel as though you and your partner are getting on the same page, especially if there's been some kind of discord. Now, on the 21st of March, there will be a new moon in Aries at 0 degrees. What's interesting about this is that the next month, we're going to have another new moon, but this time it'll be a new moon eclipse in Aries. So 2 new moons in Aries back to back in your 5th house really does highlight that there are new developments coming through with respect to dating and romance. So first things first, looking at the new moon at 0 degrees in Aries on the 21st of March, this one is going to be conjunct Mercury, and also we're going to have Jupiter here in the mix as well. So I do like to see this because Jupiter is your ruling planet, and so we're combining your ruling planet with the ruler of your 7th house, which represents romantic relationships, and then this is all occurring in the 5th house. So, if anything, this is a positive indicator that there could be a new romantic start that is taking place. And let's just say that you're single. This could be that you are meeting someone new, or that you're taking something with someone that you know to the next level, given that it's conjunct Mercury. On a different note, maybe you are joining a dating app, or you could get talking to someone. This could be online. And on a different level, for those of you who are already in an existing relationship, maybe you and your significant other are making plans for the future, or maybe you're going on a trip or some sort of vacation, or this could just be the reintroduction of the spark back into your romantic life. Actually, let me just circle back for a moment. With the new moon in Aries at 0 degrees, the Sagittarians who will be the most impacted would be those between 0 and about 5 to 10 degrees. Okay, we can just say the first decan of Sagittarius. Now, for the new moon eclipse that is occurring on the 20th of April, this will be at 29 degrees. And we're also going to have it being conjunct to Jupiter at 23 degrees. So we can say that if you're between about 20 degrees and 29 degrees Sagittarius, sun, moon, or risings, but more so ascendants and moons, or risings and moons, this would indicate you being impacted by this one. So if you're in the middle decan, don't worry, it doesn't mean that there's no action coming your way. I'm just focusing on these transits for the moment. So a new moon eclipse is like a new moon on steroids, which means that it is more powerful, it is more impactful. The new beginning that is coming through will be more potent and more readily felt. Again, this is an indicator of a new romance taking place. It must be said, though, that the ruler of this new moon eclipse is Mars, and Mars is at 13 degrees Cancer. So there is some kind of conflictual energy which is taking place with the ruler of the new moon eclipse squaring the new moon. So maybe this would, let's say, put someone's nose out of joint, or there could be an issue here which is connected to family or property and living circumstances. It doesn't necessarily need to be. It could just be that there is some kind of, reconfiguration that would need to take place for this to take off. And again, if you are in an existing relationship already, this could simply indicate that there is a new exciting chapter that is starting, but maybe there are differences pertaining your living circumstances or family matters that would need to be reconciled. So same, but kind of different. Now, on the 11th of April through till the 7th of May, Venus will be in Gemini in your 7th house. And Venus being in your 7th house is another positive indicator for, romance taking off. Also, I think I might have said earlier that Venus in Aries is in the 7th house. It's in the 5th house. I got those two mixed up. So anyway, Venus being in Gemini in your 7th house does portend great things for romance. So there can be more dates that you're going on. You could be flirting with someone. If you're in an existing relationship, this could indicate that things are going well in that department. Now, on the 4th of June, there will be a full moon in Sagittarius at 13 degrees, and this will be occurring in your first house. What's pretty exciting about this full moon is that the ruler of the full moon is Jupiter, and it is conjunct the North Node. This only happens once every 12 years or so. So to me, this indicates some kind of acceleration of an existing connection. Okay, so let's just say that there's someone that you've been talking to, and there's been interest there, and now it's like, boom, we're going from 0 to 100. So there could be a let's say a passionate set of circumstances which accompany this full moon around the 4th of June. If you are in a relationship already, this could indicate that you want to basically break away from this relationship for some of you, not for all of you. So there may be breakups that do occur around this time for a select few of you. But ultimately, with Jupiter being conjunct to the North Node, this is to pursue something else. This is to pursue something exciting, or because you want to be free and independent and liberated again. I just want to say that if there is a breakdown of a relationship that occurs with this full moon, that I see this as you being the instigator rather than the other party. So I do see you as wearing the pants in this situation, or being in the driver's seat, so to speak. And, for others of you, you could just be taking a connection to a whole new level. And maybe this comes about really unexpectedly or passionately, like I said, with that Jupiter North Node conjunction. Now, on the 18th of June, there will be a new moon in Gemini at 26 degrees. And this is going to be taking place in your 7th house. So this particular new moon will be conjunct Mercury, and it is actually making a perfect sextile to Venus in Leo at 11 degrees. So this new moon does have romantic connotations attached to it, which I'm excited to see for you guys. So for some of you, this can indicate getting into a serious committed relationship or becoming exclusive with another person. And for others of you, this could indicate that within an existing relationship that's, you're already established, you're already together, maybe you guys are talking about your plans for the future, or plans for the status of your relationship. You could even be talking about making things even more serious between you two, regardless of whether you're currently at in this connection. I do want to note though that this particular new moon is making a square to Neptune in Pisces. So this does indicate to me that there is some kind of compromise or sacrifice that is attached to getting this new moon, getting this new beginning off to the start that you want. So it could be that there is a bit of a discrepancy between what you want and what this other individual wants, whether this comes down to timing or whether this comes down to living arrangements, especially because we'll have Neptune and Saturn being in the 4th house. And like I said, there could just be some kind of compromise or sacrifice that needs to be made either by you or the other person. I just see this as a new beginning that's starting, which is really exciting and which is connected to romance, but it feels like it's not necessarily a full win-win outcome for one reason or another. Now, on the 29th of September, there will be a full moon in Aries at 6 degrees, and this is occurring in your 5th house. So full moons indicate a situation reaching full cycle, full circle, whatever you want to call it, or reaching its peak. Because this particular full moon is together with Chiron, which represents there being some kind of wound or some sort of situation which is slightly unideal, it's almost like you are having to address the elephant in the room when it comes to a situation which could be quite painful within the relationship. So maybe this is to do with them, this could be to do with you, it could be with respect to how one of you feels about your romantic life or your dating life. Worst case scenario is that, this could be a time where some of you do go through a breakup, but I don't necessarily see this as being the case for everyone, or even this being the overwhelming energy of the full moon. It's kind of like there is an awareness of something that's not quite right within the relationship for those of you who are in a relationship. Now, if you are single at this time, this full moon in Aries actually presents an incredible opportunity for you to overcome some kind of blockage when it comes to romance or dating or your sex life. So I'm not going to lie, this does look like it would be an emotional full moon for you, regardless of whether you are single or in a relationship. So just be gentle with yourself during this period of time, so plus or minus a couple of weeks from the 29th of September. And of course, be gentle with your significant other as well, for those of you who are in a relationship. One of the biggest significators for new romance entering your life, Sagittarius, is the North Node transit to your 5th house. First of all, this only happens once every 19 years, so is it a big deal? Yes, it is. The North Node will bring something new to the house that it transits. So the North Node will be in your 5th house in Aries from the 17th of July in 2023 through till January in 2025. So the North Node being in your 5th house can indicate that you're being attracted to someone who you wouldn't normally be attracted to. So maybe this is like a deviation from your usual type. The North Node being in your 5th house can indicate that there is something forbidden about this romance. And if you were to act on it, there could potentially be some sort of ramification here. So the North Node is about being tempted and taking risks. Now, even if you're not necessarily entering into a relationship with this particular transit, this really does open up a lot more dating opportunities, as well as, let's just say opportunities to have fun and play around, if you catch my drift. Now, the North Node being in your 5th house indicates that there is a desire for romance. There is a desire for relationships here, or at least to experiment. So you may find yourself becoming a lot more experimental in the bedroom. And essentially the North Node transiting your 5th house is one of the biggest indicators for passionate romantic beginnings to ensue. And even if you are already in a romantic relationship, having the North Node transit your 5th house can actually indicate that your significant other is becoming more adventurous or more sexual in nature. Maybe you have noticed that their preferences are changing over the course of the North Node being in your 5th house for 18 months. Now, if you are in a relationship already, I'm not going to lie, this can indicate that there may be temptations that come up that you would have to try to resist. So once again, this is an 18-month transit, and it is a big indicator for there being more opportunities for you to date, to meet new people, and maybe you'll be experimenting with dating online or dating in ways that you wouldn't normally consider. So as we're closing out the year on the 27th of November, there will be a full moon in Gemini at 4 degrees. Now, it will actually be conjunct Mars. Opposite Mars, okay? So the moon will be at 4 degrees Gemini, the sun will be at 4 degrees Sagittarius, and we've got Mars at 2 degrees Sagittarius, plus Mercury at 24 degrees Sagittarius. So again, this is highlighting that relationship axis for you. Because we've got the sun with Mars, this represents that there is some sort of action that one of you wants to take. But with the square to Saturn, it's like some kind of commitment needs to be made by one of you or the other person. And there could be a little bit of butting heads as to what this commitment should be or what direction we should take this in. With Mars square Saturn, and with Mars being opposite the full moon, I get somewhat of a stalemate kind of energy where one of you is like, foot on the gas, let's go, and the other person's like, whoa, 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 hold your horses, this is all too quick. So just know that if you are wanting things to move forward with another person around this period of time, so the 27th of November, you may be not seeing eye to eye at this point in time. One of you may want to push the pause button while the other person wants to, take things in fast forward motion. So I do see there as being a little bit of conflict with this particular full moon in Gemini, and because this is occurring at 4 degrees, which is the Cancerian degree, this could be pertaining to your living situation, property matters, family matters, whether this is your family, their family, or the two of you starting a family together. Or it could even just come down to emotional security within the relationship. So there will be an opportunity for you to talk things out, especially because Mercury will be in Sagittarius and making a beautiful sextile to Venus, which is exalted in Libra. So don't feel like this is the be all end all of full moons. It's just something to be aware of, that energy will be at play. Lastly, for the year, on the 12th of December, there will be a new moon in Sagittarius, and this is going to be at 20 degrees in your first house, and it will be conjunct Mars as well. So this one has this excitable, racy kind of energy to it. It is squaring Neptune, so with this one it is a little bit of a doozy, because in one way or another you're wanting to move things forwards with this new moon. Maybe you want to ask someone out, maybe you want to take your existing relationship or your connection with another person to that next level. So the conjunction with Mars is like, let's go, I'm ready. But then the square to Neptune is like, maybe there's some confusion, maybe you can't really read this person or what they are wanting out of the situation. But ultimately the ruler of this new moon is Jupiter, which is in Taurus, and it is opposite Venus in Scorpio. So there's definitely a lot of passion underneath the surface of this new moon or with this new beginning. But you will just have to have a little bit more patience in November as well as December. And so Sagittarius, that's all I have for you for this love horoscope. If you enjoyed it, please give the video a thumbs up. If you want to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. If you want to purchase your 2023 yearly horoscope on sale, you can do so by clicking on the link in the description box below. Enjoy your year ahead, Sagittarius, and I will see you guys next time. Hi Capricorns, welcome to your 2023 love horoscope. There's a lot of fertile romantic energy around you for 2023. First things first, the North Node will still be in Taurus as we enter 2023. So this is a really positive sign for dating and your love life, because the North Node will bring something new to the house that it transits. So the North Node has been in Taurus in your 5th house since the 18th of January in 2022, and it will wrap up its 18-month transit on the 17th of July in 2023. So for many of you, there will have been some kind of new romantic relationship that's come through, or a new development in your existing connection with another person, and this could have taken place from about the end of January up until now. Now, if nothing has happened as yet, don't fret, because we've still got another 7 months of this transit as I'm presently filming this video. So the North Node will bring something new to the house that it transits. With the North Node being in your 5th house, this can indicate that for some of you, you are dating outside of your usual type, or you could have been dating a lot more than normal. If you are in an existing relationship, things could have accelerated after the North Node enters Taurus, or entered Taurus, I should say. And again, this could still be the case as we approach mid-July in 2023. Now, the North Node being in your 5th house can indicate that you guys are becoming more adventurous when it comes to A, the kinds of people that you date, and B, the ways in which you access dating. So for some of you, especially as Capricorns, you may have had a very traditional approach to dating, but since the North Node entered Taurus, maybe you've become more experimental when it comes to dating online, or how you meet people, or even just what you're willing to entertain, even in the early days. Now, with Jupiter entering the sign of Taurus on the 16th of May and being there until the 24th of May in 2024, this portends amazing things for you guys in the love and romance department, and that is because Jupiter is the greater benefic in astrology, and it will bestow blessings to the house that it transits through. So having Jupiter through the 5th house, first of all, only happens once every 12 years. So you can look back to the last time that Jupiter was in Taurus to see what was happening around then. Nevertheless, this can indicate that there are more dating opportunities, or that you have more more optimism and confidence when it comes to your romantic life or your sex life, and there can be more opportunities for you to date. There can be lots more excitement within an existing romantic connection, and maybe you and your significant other will be looking at traveling together. Now, Jupiter being in your 5th house can indicate that you would be falling pregnant. Obviously, this is a love reading and not a family reading, but I just wanted to throw that out there for you guys nevertheless. And honestly, having Jupiter in Taurus at the same time as the North Node in Taurus, I mean, this overlap, it's very, very uncommon, and this is a huge indicator for a new romantic relationship taking off, meeting someone new, or your existing romantic relationship being taken to another level at pace, so with some sort of accelerated motion. And that is because the North Node has a very exploratory and adventurous energy to it, and quite a sexual energy as well, and Jupiter will expand whatever it touches. So the overlap of having Jupiter and the North Node both in Taurus in your 5th house will be from the 16th of May through till the 16th or the 17th of July in 2023. Now, it's not like these are the only transits that are impacting your relationships and your love life. So just to go through a few other things, I mean, it would be remiss of me not to mention the fact that Pluto is in Capricorn for 9 months of the year. Now, even though this is in your 1st house, it still activates that 1st and 7th house axes. So many Capricorns are going through some sort of awakening process when it comes to relationships, and whether they let the concept of a relationship control them, or maybe you have personally experienced being controlled by another person, or perhaps you have felt inclined to exhibit controlling behavior within an existing romantic connection. Obviously, this is a general reading, so just take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Ultimately, though, Pluto will be in Aquarius for nearly 3 months in 2023, so that will be from the 23rd of March through till the 11th of June, and then it will go back into Capricorn. But I do want you guys to take note of how you're feeling between the end of March and the middle of June, because you may feel like a weight lifts off your shoulder, and this would certainly be a glimpse into what you can expect for the next 2 decades come January 2024, when Pluto re-enters the sign of Aquarius. Now, as far as transits are concerned, and new moons and full moons, we've got a full moon in Cancer at 16 degrees on the 6th of January. So this will actually be occurring in your 7th house. So today I'm going to be focusing on new moons and full moons, and also the activity of Venus. Obviously, we've already been through Jupiter, the North Node, and Pluto. So with this full moon occurring at 16 degrees in your 7th house, and with it actually being conjunct Mercury, which will be retrograde, there may be sudden insights that come through to you with respect to either someone that you're already dating or someone who is from your past. This could actually be an ex, and maybe you want closure or clarity within that connection, or within that, previous relationship. So this full moon will be making a trine to Uranus in Taurus at 15 degrees. So it's nearly an exact trine. So I love that this full moon is opposite Mercury in Capricorn, and then we've got the Sun and Mercury in Capricorn trining Uranus, because Mercury represents information and Uranus represents divine knowledge or downloads of information. So you can certainly have some kind of aha moment with respect to your marriage, your relationship, someone that you're interested in, your crush, or even just a past connection. And because the full moon represents a situation reaching its peak, and we do have it being opposite Mercury, which is retrograde, this could actually indicate that you may be getting back with an ex, or like I said before, this could lead to much needed closure. Now, from the 16th of March till the 11th of April, Venus will be in Taurus, transiting your 5th house. So first of all, we've got the ruler of the 5th house in the 5th house, and Venus is the planet of relationships and love. So the 16th of March through till the 11th of April really is a hotspot time period for dating, for romance, for your existing romantic relationships or connections to improve. And, you know, even if you're not involved with someone, this can indicate there being exciting dating opportunities that come through, or you may even meet someone special during this period of time. Now, on the 7th of May through till the 5th of June, we're going to have Venus in Cancer. So we'll have the ruler of your 5th house entering your 7th house. So we've got your 5th house and 7th house both being activated by the same transit, which is amazing for relationship energy. So, you know, it does appear that there is some sort of activity that's coming through, romantically speaking, between March and June. And, you know, even if you're already in a relationship, this can indicate that that relationship is improving or going better, for want of a better term. Now, on the 19th of May, there will be a new moon in Taurus at 28 degrees in your 5th house. This is a very exciting new moon, and that is because we will have Jupiter, the North Node, Mercury, Uranus, the Moon, and the Sun all in Taurus. That is 5 planets. And the North Node. So this portends really exciting things as far as romance and dating is concerned. And to top it off, the ruler of this new moon is Venus, and Venus is in Cancer together with Mars. Okay, and Mars is actually making an almost perfect sextile here. So if there is some kind of romantic connection that you want to take action on, whether this is asking someone out, whether this is asking them to be exclusive with you, or even if this is to do with travel or even studying something together, or just talking about your relationship in the future, you could certainly get a lot of clarity during this period of time. Furthermore, of all the planets, they're all in either Earth or water signs except for Pluto, which will be at 0 degrees. So, you know, this does represent that there is some kind of harmony and peace that's coming through to a romantic situation or to your love life. Even if you are not dating anyone and you've been single for a while and you don't meet anyone around this period of time, this represents a profound moment for introspection, healing, and overcoming any kind of psychological blockage or even sexual blockage or anything that pertains to emotional intimacy that has been, you know, an imposition on your love life or how you feel about romance in general. So once again, that is the 19th of May in 2023. Now, just moving along, on the 3rd of July, there will be a full moon in Capricorn at 11 degrees. So this will be taking place in your 1st house. So again, we're seeing that activation of your 1st and 7th house axes. The full moon will be opposite Mercury in Cancer. And also the full moon is going to be making a trine to Jupiter, which is just perfect. So basically, full moons indicate a situation reaching its peak or some kind of climax or culmination point. So this particular full moon can indicate that you are taking things to that next level, or that you're planning your future together with the trine to Jupiter. Maybe you're planning a holiday or a trip or a vacation or going on some kind of adventure. To be very fair, this could actually indicate a marriage proposal that is coming through, or again, just discussing that ability to take things to the next level. Because it is a full moon, yes, this can indicate letting go of a romantic connection. But I just want to say that with this occurring in your 1st house and trining Jupiter in your 5th house, I truly, truly see this as something that you would be enacting or that you would be instigating, rather than this coming through from the other person. So, you know, obviously I don't want to just harp on about only the positive side of things that can occur in terms of this love horoscope. Anytime there is a new moon or a full moon, you know, there is potential for fluctuations or movement in terms of the direction that you're taking that relationship in. So you will just want to apply this to your own personal situation. And, you know, with the new moon that's occurring in Cancer in your 7th house, this does represent an opportunity for you to break free from a connection which has been weighing you down, even if this is someone from a past life or someone who you're just no longer in contact with this new moon being opposite Pluto at 29 degrees Capricorn, I kind of see this as being a moment for you to set intentions to release this person or to cut the cord with this person, especially if they've had a controlling presence in your life or an overwhelming amount of influence in terms of how you conduct yourself. And, you know, obviously you guys are Capricorn, so you're pretty hard to influence. But if you've just felt like there is this connection to a former lover, or even if it was like the one that got away, this actually does present an incredible opportunity for you to cut ties with this person energetically, spiritually, psychically, or even just in real life. So I do think that you'll find that a lot of personal power and strength is coming through to you around the 17th of July, especially as Pluto will be at the anaretic degree of 29 degrees in your first house. So just wrapping up this horoscope, we've got two more full moons to get through. On the 28th of October, there will be a full moon eclipse in Taurus at 5 degrees in your 5th house. So eclipses are, well, full moon eclipses are like full moons but on steroids, so they can represent an extremely noticeable and powerful shift or culmination point, with this occurring in your 5th house and also being conjunct Jupiter and Uranus. And then on the other side of it, we've got the Sun being conjunct Mercury and Mars. There is some sort of explosive energy that comes through with this particular full moon eclipse. However, the ruler of this eclipse is Venus, and we've got the moon trining Venus in Virgo. So, you know, it is in harmony, but I would just say to you to expect the unexpected, whether this is a sudden invitation to become exclusive with someone, whether this is you deciding that you don't want to date someone anymore, or there could be some kind of hidden information which is revealed either by the other individual, whether this is them coming to you or you discovering something about this individual, or the shoe could be on the other foot where, you know, you're just like bearing your soul to another person and you're like, what the hell, this is very uncharacteristic for me. So I do see this as a very powerful moment in time where you can have an emotional breakthrough or a psychological breakthrough or even a sexual breakthrough with another individual. And even if you are single at this point of the year, this can still indicate that there is a powerful download of information when it comes to what you would need to do in order to embark on a successful relationship where, you know, you're feeling happy, fulfilled, it's a healthy relationship. And this would be a great moment for you to let go of any kind of baggage or trauma surrounding relationships. Obviously, it's easier said than done, but if you were to work with, let's say, some kind of healer or a psychologist or a professional to help you release any kind of, emotional baggage surrounding sex and relationships, this would be a powerful time where you could overcome that. So lastly, for the year Capricorns, on the 27th of December, there will be a full moon in Cancer in your 7th house at 4 degrees. Now, what's so beautiful about this full moon in Cancer is that it makes a near perfect sextile to Jupiter, which will be in Taurus in your 5th house. So this can indicate taking that relationship to the next level. This can indicate deciding that you and your partner want to start a family together. This could indicate that you are, already taking steps to do that. And with the full moon being in Cancer at 4 degrees, it could even indicate that you and your significant other could be buying a property together at this time. And so Capricorn, that's all I have for you for your love horoscope for 2023. If you enjoyed this horoscope, please give the video a thumbs up. If you want to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. And if you want to purchase your 2023 yearly horoscope, you can do so by clicking on the link in the description box below. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Hi Aquarians, welcome to your 2023 love horoscope. As we start off the year, Mars will be wrapping up its retrograde motion in your 5th house. So there could have been some sort of confusion with respect to your romantic connection or your relationship with your significant other as you entered the year. And this could have been actually a continuation from something that started at the end of October when Mars first went retrograde, or it could even have just bubbled up in, November or December, and now you're really fleshing it out as the year commences. So the good news is that there's only 12 days of the year with Mars being retrograde. So if there has been some sort of discord or tension within your romantic connection with another person, whether this is a serious relationship or even just someone that you're flirting with or dating, you can really get peace and clarity surrounding this connection as we move through till more so the end of January, because we do want to wait for Mars to come out of that post-shadow period. So on the 7th of March, we're going to have Saturn leaving the sign of Aquarius. So it's been transiting your first house since the end of 2020. In fact, it did have a little stint in Aquarius between March and July in 2020 as well. So even though Saturn has been in your first house, this has put a tremendous amount of pressure on your relationships or on your marriage or just any kind of committed long-term romantic connection that you've been in. And that is because it has been activating that 1st and 7th house axis. So for some of you, there could have been a personal burden that you have been carrying or a set of hardships that you have been enduring since, let's call it, the end of 2020. And maybe this has been impacting your connection with your significant other. For some of you, this could actually indicate that a period of either emotional distance or maybe even physical distance could be coming to a close. So this could be because one of you had to work in a different city or overseas. Maybe for some reason you had to live apart, or perhaps this has been a process of waiting for one of you to become emotionally available, or even both of you to become emotionally available. So maybe one of you was leaving a previous romantic connection, or they just weren't ready to commit to you. And now that Saturn is leaving Aquarius on the 7th of March, there can be, like I said, the pressure coming off of that relationship. Now, on the 21st of January, we are going to have a new moon in Aquarius at 1 degrees, and this will be taking place in your first house. Now, what's interesting about this new moon in Aquarius is that we also have Venus being conjunct Saturn in Aquarius as well. So, although the new moon's at 1 degrees, Venus will be at 23 degrees and Saturn will be at 24 degrees Aquarius. So no matter what degree you are as an Aquarius sun, moon, or rising, this can indicate that there is some sort of new chapter that is starting with respect to a romantic connection. Now, this can play out in a number of different ways. For some of you, as this is a new moon, it could be that you are entering into a new romantic relationship, especially as we've got Venus being conjunct Saturn, which essentially indicates that there is some sort of I don't want to say contract, but a solidifying of that connection, we can say. And with Venus ruling over your 4th house, this could even be to do with property matters. So even if you're already in an existing relationship, you could be deciding that you and your partner want to buy property together, or you just want to live together. You could be establishing solid foundations with respect to starting a family or expanding your family. Now, the thing is, this new moon is squaring Uranus at 14 degrees in the sign of Taurus. So there is an element of the unexpected here, especially as Uranus is the other planet that rules over Aquarius. So Saturn and Uranus both rule over Aquarius here. So with this squaring the ruler of the new moon, there could be something here about timing or about the trajectory that you two are going forwards on. So, for example, maybe you are deciding that you do want to move in together, and maybe you just have that conversation where you get on the same page, but the curveball is Uranus saying, hey, you can't act on this for a few months, or, the where or the when of it could be subject to change. There could be something here about one of you feeling more ready than the other person, and even though you're both on the same page about which direction to go in, it could be that one of you wants to move slowly and the other person wants to move quickly. To be entirely fair, this can indicate the breakdown of a relationship. I do want to present a very well-rounded horoscope for you guys. I don't want to sugarcoat anything. So some of you may realize that this relationship has reached the end of the line, essentially. And even though we're talking about a new moon in Aquarius, which indicates a new beginning, because we have Venus conjunct Saturn, there is an element of finality here, or being very serious about what the next step is. And for some of you, the next step could be going your separate ways. So of course, this is a general reading. Take everything that I'm saying with a grain of salt. It's not all going to apply to everyone, of course. Now, what is positive about this new moon on the 21st of January is that it will be making a trine to Mars in Gemini. So this indicates to me that the two of you are able to create an action plan together and work through any kind of differences of opinion. And, it doesn't necessarily mean that the two of you are going to come to an agreement where you see eye to eye. It's more like, okay, at least we can agree on how to move forward, even if we're moving apart. Now, on the 5th of February, there will be a full moon in Leo at 16 degrees. So with this taking place in your 7th house, for some of you, this can indicate, once again, that property matters are going to be coming up for you, or potentially family matters. So your significant other could be falling pregnant. The two of you could be buying property together, or you could be selling property together. Once more, this particular full moon will be squaring Uranus. Okay, so we had the new moon squaring Uranus. Now we've got the full moon tightly squaring Uranus. So there is some sort of element of unpredictability here, where it's like you couldn't see it coming, or maybe your partner is suggesting something which is a little more, I guess we could say, further down the line than what you were initially expecting, or the shoe could be on the other foot. So I really get the energy of one of you surprising the other person in this romantic connection. And for others of you, this could be some of you making a decision to walk away from a relationship. So we do now have, 2 back-to-back let's say lunar phases, which can indicate a separation of sorts. But I just want to stress to you guys that come the 7th of March, Saturn is leaving Aquarius. This is removing that pressure off of your romantic relationship, and things will continue to get better as the year progresses. So on the 23rd of March, Pluto will enter the sign of Aquarius, which means that the ruler of your 10th house is moving into your 1st house. So this can see you just having a total epiphany when it comes to what you want your life to look like. And I don't even just mean relationships. This is like really groundbreaking energy for you guys. And if romantic connections or relationships has been something that you have habitually struggled with, this can see you actually overcoming that karmic cycle now that Saturn will be out of your 1st house. And it's like, okay, I'm ready to be vulnerable. I'm ready for more emotional intimacy. I'm ready to merge my life with another, which is what Pluto essentially represents. Now, on the 16th of May, Jupiter is going to enter the sign of Taurus. So this brings so much abundance and so much prosperity, and also blessings to your home life and to your family life. So this transit will impact you more from a point of view for those of you who live with your significant other, or who have a family together, or who are looking to start a family together. So this absolutely can indicate that during this 12-month period that may be happening for you. And for others of you, it could just be that you'll be moving in with your significant other during this period of time, which again is from the 16th of May in 2023 until the 24th of May in 2024. And if there has been a situation with your significant other where you have wanted to heal that relationship, Jupiter can really bring forgiveness and healing to your relationship. And for others of you, if you have felt trapped in a relationship and like there's no way for you to escape, Jupiter transiting your 4th house can actually liberate you from an unhappy marriage or relationship or living circumstances with your significant other. Another way that I could interpret this is that you may actually be traveling with your significant other and living abroad, with Jupiter being in that 4th house of yours. Now, on the 18th Oh, sorry, let's backtrack for a second. From the 11th of April through till the 7th of May, Venus will be in Gemini in your 5th house. This happens once a year, but it is a great transit for love, dating, romance. You can be feeling more flirtatious. You could have more dating options if you've gone through a period of not dating anyone, or if there's been a bit of a dry spell for you, romantically speaking. This period of time can see you having more options, more fun, more frivolity. There could be a fickleness here to this energy with Venus being in Gemini. So, you know, if you do meet someone during this period of time, it could be that this is more of a light-hearted situation, or friends with benefits situation could actually ensue for some of you. But having said that, you know, it doesn't mean that you can't enter a relationship during this period of time. It's just that it's more centered around fun and romance and lightheartedness. Now, on the 18th of June, there will be a new moon in Gemini at 26 degrees, and this will be occurring in your 5th house. So new moons can indicate a new beginning starting or a new chapter. This new moon is actually conjunct Mercury, which is the ruler of the new moon anyway. So for some of you, this can indicate meeting someone special. This can indicate getting into a relationship, or, you know, feeling like you're in more solid dating territory rather than things just being casual. So there could be a new chapter that is starting in that department. It must be said though that we do have this new moon making a square to Neptune, so it could be that there is a little bit of confusion in the initial phases of this. So for example, maybe you thought that you asked this person out in a really direct way, and they were like, oh, I thought you were asking me out as like a friend, like I didn't know that this was a date. Or maybe because it's square Neptune, this is just coming to me now, you could have thought that you asked someone out properly while you were drunk or inebriated, and then you find out that, you know, the conversation didn't go down the way that you thought. So there could be a little bit of confusion when it comes to this new moon in Gemini. I'm just laughing because I can just see it now, but another way that this could play out is that a new start could occur, a new relationship could occur, but there may be an element of long distance here, or something connected to an inaccessibility from the beginning. So for example, maybe you and this other person are like, yep, let's be together, let's do this. But first, one of you has to like work abroad, or they're trying to leave another situation to be available for you. And that doesn't necessarily mean like a third party situation. It could be like that they work interstate and they're like, hey, I'm trying to make my way back to you. Now, on the 1st of August, there's going to be a full moon in Aquarius at 9 degrees. But first, I just want to say that Venus will be in Leo from the 5th of June through till the 9th of October. So having the relationship planet be in your 7th house for literally 4 months, including a retrograde cycle. I mean, if I had to hedge a bet on when there would be developments in relationships occurring for you as Aquarians, I would put it in this block of time from the 5th of June to the 9th of October. So the retrograde period will be from the 22nd of July through till the 2nd or the 3rd of September. Essentially, this can indicate that you are maybe getting into a relationship, maybe coming out of a relationship. You could come out of a relationship and then get into a new relationship. The name of the game here is relationships and romance. And with the retrograde, it's like, what are my values? What do I want out of a relationship? What do I want out of this relationship? What are they bringing to the table? What am I bringing to the table? Do we work well in terms of compatibility, sexuality, or even just on paper as well? With Venus ruling over your 4th house, there could be a real preoccupation here with either family matters, whether this means, do your family like them? Will their family like you? Or it could be like, I want to have kids, do you? You know, it's like getting onto the same page. For others of you, it could be figuring out how to make that a reality, whether this involves a surrogate or IVF, or maybe you're looking at freezing your eggs or something of this nature. So essentially there is like this intense preoccupation with, how's this going to work? What do I want in a relationship? What do they want in a relationship? And are we compatible in every way? Can we actually, make this work properly. Even if you are not getting into a relationship or coming out of a relationship, Venus ruling over your 4th house indicates to me that you are really weighing up what's important to you. Where would you want to put roots down? Do you even want to put roots down? If you're in a relationship, you could seriously be reconsidering this relationship and whether you even want to try to continue to make it work. I'm not going to lie, this can indicate breakup territory for a number of you Aquarians. But again, we've got Venus in the 4th house, the 7th house for 4 months. So, honestly, you could run through a number of those aforementioned scenarios in a short period of time. And I certainly don't want to, foreshadow that all Aquarians are going to break up, because it's simply not true. Some of you will just finally be acting on a romantic connection and, working through your differences and coming out the other side of this and entering into a relationship. And for some of you, this could even be talking about marriage or just being very exclusive, especially if you've been in a situation which is extremely casual. And if I didn't mention it already, your living circumstances with a romantic partner could change, whether this is them moving in, them moving out, or vice versa, buying property together, selling your property together, relocating somewhere else but still remaining in that relationship. So yeah, clearly there's a number of different ways that this can work out. With the full moon occurring on the 1st of August at 9 degrees Aquarius in your 1st house, this is smack bang in the middle of that retrograde period. So with this one, with it occurring in your 1st house, and also with this making a square to Jupiter as well as a wide square to Uranus, to me this indicates that the direction of your relationship is really being decided in this particular point in time. So the square to Jupiter represents the vision for the future. What direction are we going in? Are we heading together or are we heading apart? So, not to be dramatic, but this does have make it or break it energy. For better or worse, just apply it to your personal set of circumstances. There could be a breakthrough that comes with this particular relationship, and the square to Jupiter could even be you realizing that you're like completely in love with someone and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I have feelings for this person. Like, where did this come from? So it could even just be this download of information when it comes to how you feel about a connection, even if nothing follows on from this realization. And the same can be said for realizing that you don't want to be in something anymore. I do feel that this would come from you rather than the other person. I just want to make that known, because the full moon is in your 1st house. So it's like, what decisions are you making? Now, on the 16th of August, there will be a new moon in Leo at 23 degrees. So again, this is occurring while Venus is retrograde. This new moon, more than any other, signifies a development coming through with a relationship, and that is because it's conjunct Venus. Venus is retrograde as well, and this new moon is making an exact square to Uranus, and Venus is squaring Jupiter. So this really can indicate a relationship that had a false start finally moving in the direction that you want it to go in. This can indicate getting back with an ex, okay, reconciling with a former partner, hearing back from an ex. This can indicate for some of you that you are changing direction with this romantic connection. And with Venus being retrograde, this is also like you having a download of information when it comes to how you truly feel. And maybe it takes you by surprise, especially with that square to Uranus. What just occurred to me is love at first sight. But there's an uncomfortability here, because the square to Uranus is like, no, I'm not ready. I'm not ready for a relationship. I don't have these feelings. I'm an Aquarius. Feelings? What? Just kidding. Obviously, everyone has feelings, but there could be a little bit of resistance that comes through to an acknowledgement of feelings that you have for another person, which, take that any which way you will. Lastly, for the year Aquarians, on the 27th of November, there will be a full moon in Gemini in your 5th house, and this will be occurring at 4 degrees. So what's interesting about this full moon is that it is making a square to Saturn, and we've got an opposition to Mars. Okay, so the Sun and Mars are pretty much like this with the full moon. So with this occurring in your 5th house, you know, Saturn is like, let's pump the brakes, and there's a lot of resistance here. And then with the Sun conjunct Mars, it's like, oh my God, I have a burning passion for this to proceed or to date this person or whatever. So there could be some state of inner conflict that comes through with you and your decision-making process surrounding a romantic connection. And even if this is not on an inner level, it could even be with the other individual, where one of you wants to, you know, go full tilt with this relationship and the other person is like, let's pump the brakes, I need to take it slow. So obviously, you know, we've got some opposing energy there. Either way, Aquarius, I do see this as being a year which is quite focused on your love life and your romantic life. And, you know, overwhelmingly speaking, Saturn being out of Aquarius is lifting this blockage or this, let's call it, drought that you may have experienced on your love life. So Aquarius, that's all I have for you for this love horoscope. If you enjoyed the reading, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to purchase your 2023 yearly horoscope, you can do so by clicking on the link in the description box below. I hope you have an amazing 2023, and I will see you guys next time. Hi Pisces, welcome to your 2023 love horoscope. Today I'm going to be looking at new moons, full moons, as well as Saturn changing signs and entering your 1st house and the activities of Venus. So let's start off from the top. On the 20th of February, there will be a new moon in Pisces at 1 degrees, and this will be occurring in your 1st house. Now, what's interesting about this particular new moon is that we're also going to have Neptune and Venus being conjunct in Pisces as well. So Venus will be at 29 degrees. So we're really pulling in all the degrees of Pisces essentially. So with this being said, a new moon that activates the 1st and 7th house axes can represent there being a new chapter or a new start, which is coming through with a romantic connection. So if you are already in a relationship or a romantic connection, this can indicate that you and your significant other may be making some very important decisions about the direction that you want this relationship to go in. The reason why I'm saying this is because 1 degrees represents Aries energy, which is the start of something new, but then we've got Venus at 29 degrees, which can represent a situation coming full circle. So on one hand, if you're in a romantic relationship or connection already, this can indicate taking things to a higher level of commitment. But for others of you, there may be some sort of conscious uncoupling is the word or the term that comes to mind, just because we do have Neptune here as well. So there could be a decision that is made to actually walk away from a relationship after an intense period of introspection, reflection, and really just going into your emotions about where you see this relationship going. So obviously this is a general reading, so take it any which way that it applies to you. And moving forwards though, on the 7th of March, there will be a full moon in Virgo at 16 degrees. And this is the same day as Saturn changing signs in Pisces. So first and foremost, Saturn has not been in Pisces for 29.5 years. This is not something that happens every day. Now, the good news with Saturn entering Pisces when it comes to relationships is that it can actually solidify a relationship, or it can see you taking things to the next level if that is what you want, because Saturn represents having this higher level of commitment or making a promise to another individual. So with Neptune having been in Pisces since 2018, there could have been some intense confusion that you've been experiencing regarding either a romantic connection that is in your life, an ex from the past. This could even be a situation of unrequited love, or a person being emotionally unavailable, or simply not knowing where you stand with another person. So Saturn entering Pisces and being here for 3 years until February 2026 can indicate that there is an ability, a newfound ability to either move this relationship forwards and basically ground it in the 3D or make it a reality, especially if there's been, let's say, long distance between you two, or if there's been confusion about where this is going or about how one or both of you feel. And, you know, this can indicate that you are coming together in union. So it's like Saturn is stepping in to help you take this relationship, which has been really wishy-washy or confusing, to that next level. Of course, the other side of the coin for some of you Pisces would be that you and your significant other are deciding to part ways, and maybe this is a process that will span the Saturn in Pisces period, or it could just be that it's long and drawn out. You know, Saturn being here can indicate that there is a delay with this separation, or there could be resistance from one of you or both of you, even if, you know, the two of you are agreeing that you do need to go separate ways. Just remember though that this is a general reading, so, you know, I'm definitely not trying to foreshadow that all Pisces are going to have issues in their relationships. It really can go either way, just depending on your personal circumstances. Now, again, on the 7th of March, when Saturn moves into Pisces, we've got this full moon happening, right? So the full moon is at 16 degrees Virgo, which is a Cancerian degree, I should say. And this one will actually be making a trine to Uranus. So this is amazing. This is like a sudden download of information or divine inspiration about a romantic connection, whether this is, let's dive right in, let's be together, you know, I love you, you love me, and, you know, you're just able to move this forwards in a way that was quite unexpected. And then Saturn here is like, yes, let's ground this in reality. With the shoe being on the other foot, it could be that with you potentially ending the relationship, or the other person potentially ending the relationship, you know, whichever way it's going to swing, if that happens for you, there is like this release, or there is this sudden weight that's been lifted off your shoulders. So, you know, Pisces, I just want to emphasize that if there is a relationship breakdown that does occur around the 7th of March, you know, plus or minus a couple of weeks, you will handle this so much better than you initially would have thought. So I really just want to reassure you guys in that way. Now, moving a little further, on the 7th of May, we're going to have Venus in Cancer. So this will be from the 7th of May till the 5th of June. Venus will transit your 5th house in Cancer once a year. And it's a great time for dating, romance, flirtations, meeting people at parties. Maybe you'll be asking someone out on a date, or maybe they'll be asking you out on a date. This can indicate a willingness or an inclination to enter the dating pool or to put yourself out there. And I certainly would be saying yes to social invitations that come your way during this period of time. Now, on the 17th of July, there will be a new moon in Cancer, and this will be occurring at 24 degrees in your 5th house. And what's interesting about this new moon is that it will be opposite Pluto, which rules over your 5th house, which, you know, we're tying in a new moon in the 5th house with the ruler of the 5th house. So this can actually indicate a new romantic relationship that is occurring. And with Pluto being in your 11th house, this could actually be with a friend, or with someone who is in your wider network, or a friend of a friend, or someone that you're simply aware of somehow. Or this could be like an online situation that is occurring. So this can see you either entering into a relationship or just meeting someone new, you know, even if things don't progress anywhere immediately, if at all. You know, the opposition to Pluto is like a recognition of someone from a past life, or someone who you're deeply sexually attracted to, or who makes you feel like they can just see into your soul. So again, this is the 17th of July, but pay attention to what's happening 1 or 2 weeks before or afterwards. Now, from the 23rd of August through till the 15th of September, we're going to have Mercury being retrograde in Virgo in your 7th house. So this will be from 21 degrees going back to 8 degrees. This particular Mercury retrograde will affect Pisceans between 8 and 21 degrees the most. If you're outside of those degrees, you'll still feel it, just not as strongly. So with Mercury being retrograde in your 7th house, ruling over the 7th house as well as the 4th house, this can indicate an intense period of thinking about your partnership or your connection with another person. Do I want to be with them? Do I not want to be with them? Should I break up? Should we get back together? What are they thinking? How am I feeling about this connection? This can be hearing back from an ex. This can be an ex wanting to get back together with you. This could be you wanting to get back together with an ex, with Mercury ruling over your 4th house. This could simply just be discussions about, hey, what are we doing with our property? What are we doing with our living circumstances? And again, this could be with someone that you're in a relationship with, whether this is like, hey, do you want to move in with me, or should I be moving in with you? Or even if this is like you and your significant other have property together, maybe you're like, should we rent this out? Should we buy together? Should we sell together? And, the same can be said for even if you still share property with an ex. There could be some conversations here about what are we doing with this property. And also the same can be said for if you have children together. Now, if you are in a relationship with another person, Mercury ruling over your 4th house and being retrograde in the 7th house can see there being some sort of conversation or even preoccupation with the idea of starting a family. And maybe this is you two discussing, when would we do this? How would we do this? How would this work? What's going to happen with the timing of this? So, essentially there can just be a reconsideration of you and an existing partnership or relationship, you and someone that you are wanting to date, whether you're moving in with someone, what's happening with the property portfolio, what's happening with family. And, even if you're not with someone, okay, even if there's no one in the picture during this period of time, this can be you deciding or basically ruminating on, hey, what do I want out of a relationship, or maybe even a marriage? And also there could be talks here about, should we be getting married? Should we be taking things to the next level? And even if you've been with your partner for a while, this could even be a discussion where it's like, hey, do we want to stay together? Is this working? And it doesn't mean you have to break up. It could just be like you're working on existing issues within that relationship or within that connection. So on the 31st of August, which is smack bang in the middle of that Mercury retrograde period, there will be a full moon in Pisces at 7 degrees, and it will be conjunct Saturn, which is very interesting to me. So Saturn will be at 3 degrees, and you know what? This full moon is occurring at 7 degrees, which is the relationship degree. So because this is in your 1st house and it's opposite Mercury, which is retrograde, I see this as being a realization or a download of information that comes through with respect to a romantic connection and what you should do with that. So the conjunction to Saturn is like, make it or break it, actually. Do we really want this? If so, let's go in all the way and commit. And the conjunction to Saturn from the moon could be buying that property together, or making a solid decision about your living circumstances, even if this involves a change in direction. So for example, maybe you guys were like, hey, we want to live in this state or in this city. And then around the time of the full moon, so the 31st of August, plus or minus a couple of weeks, you guys are like, I don't know about this. Maybe we should be looking at living somewhere else, or instead of living near the beach, living near the city, just as an example. And with the opposition to Mercury retrograde, there is a flip-flop here. There is someone changing their minds, someone trying to change the other person's mind, or a former decision being revised or being reversed. Now, on the 15th of September, which is the day that Mercury stations direct, there will be a new moon in Virgo. And this one is going to be occurring at 21 degrees and it will be conjunct Mercury, which will still be retrograde at 8 degrees. So this new moon is like, it's a new decision. It's a new chapter coming through. Maybe this is you entering into a relationship, or you entering into some kind of contractual agreement with your partner. You could actually be going into business together with your partner, especially because we've got the conjunction to Mercury here. And this could indicate a high level of commitment. And again, with Mercury ruling over that 4th house, this could be related to property matters. Actually, this could even indicate that your significant other is falling pregnant. Now, from the 9th of October through till the 8th of November, Venus will be in the sign of Virgo, which means it will be transiting your 7th house. We love to see it. This happens once a year, and you know, it's going to be about 3 or so weeks, 4 weeks. And essentially, Venus being in your 7th house can introduce balance and harmony into your relationship. Okay, good, we're getting along. Or, hey, you know, my partner's looking exceptionally beautiful. Or maybe there's something special happening in the life of your significant other. With Venus being in your 7th house, this can see you actually being more attractive when it comes to relationships, or feeling like, you know, there's lots of options for you to flirt. And if you are in a romantic connection already, this can indicate a period of joy, harmony, happiness, and more loving, and maybe even going on some kind of vacation or doing something romantic and special together. So lastly, for the year, on the 27th of December, right at the end of the year, we've got a full moon in Cancer, and this is occurring in your 5th house, and it is at 4 degrees, which is the Cancerian degree. So with this particular full moon, it is making an almost exact sextile to Jupiter, which is just so beautiful. So this can indicate taking a relationship to the next level. This can indicate this can actually indicate that you may be falling pregnant, because the 5th house is connected to children. This can indicate that you and your partner are making decisions about family planning, or about your property and living circumstances. With this full moon, making a sextile to Jupiter at 5 degrees Taurus, this can simply indicate that you guys are talking about your future and you're on the same page. You know, even if you're not making any hard and fast decisions, it could be like, you know, in 2 years, I want to do this with you. And they're like, oh my God, yes, I'd love to do that. Maybe this will involve travel together because it's Jupiter, or education, higher learning, religion, spirituality. Children as well is heavily implied here, as well as these property and living circumstances. And this can actually inject more passion into your romantic life or into your love life. And listen, even if you're single around the 27th of December, this can actually see you moving through some kind of romantic blockage or sexual blockage that's affecting you on a personal level. So there can be a deep level of healing that is taking place around the 27th of December. And so Pisces, that's all I have for you for this love horoscope. If you enjoyed this reading, please give the video a thumbs up. If you want to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. And of course, if you want to purchase your 2023 yearly horoscope, you can do so by clicking on the link in the description box below. Enjoy your year ahead, Pisces, and I will see you guys next time.